Call to order the November 16th, 2022 regular board meeting of the Niles-Maine District Library Board to order. Margaret, would you please call the roll?
Thank you. Trustee Derblick?
Here.
Trustee Schoenfeld?
Here.
Trustee Mikula?
Here.
Trustee Rosansky? Here. Trustee Olson?
Here.
Trustee Keene?
Here.
Thank you. Item 3 on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. Could we all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. At this time, I will reiterate the rules for our board meetings. As board president
Point of
and
order.
presiding officer, the point of order is denied. As board president and presiding officer, it is my responsibility to preserve and maintain decorum at all times during official meetings of the library board. As such, this board will not tolerate outbursts and interruptions during our meetings. I am asking that each member of the public respect that and to conduct yourself accordingly. If, on the other hand, you do interfere with the orderly conduct of the meeting or you persist in disorderly, disruptive conduct, I will have you removed from the meeting. Public participation and comment will be permitted during the public comment portion of the agenda consistent with the library rules. Remarks shall be made from the speaker's podium only. Abusive and profane comments will not be permitted and will promptly be ruled out of order. If you persist, you will no longer be allowed to speak. The board vests in me as the board president the authority to terminate the remarks of speakers who fail to adhere to the rules. Individuals addressing the board must at all times adhere to the library policies and other rules as may be necessary for the efficient and orderly conduct of the meeting. All public comments shall be addressed to the board as a whole, and no comments shall be addressed to individual members of the board, library staff, or other members of the public body. Thank you. Item 4 on the agenda is public comment. Cindy, could you please call the first person for public comment?
Tisha Dowdy.
Take the question and stick it where the sun don't shine. Look it up. Timestamp 58 minutes at last month's meeting. These words, so blatantly spoken by the trustee to the left of me that sits at the end of the stage. Unreal, but expected nonetheless. Let me set the table for you. One trustee is questioning the attorney bills for Yvette Henselman. She is so upset she cannot get a phone call from Yvette and continues to be upset because the president won't allow the bantering to continue. I certainly hope the trustee was able to get her answer from the library trustee. Thank you.
Mike Movita.
Good evening, board. My name is Mike Movito. My younger son, Silas, happens to be the youngest ever library card holder in the history of this library at less than 2 days old. The very first thing that my family and I did when my wife and my son were discharged from the hospital was come here because we love this library. This is my son Eli's favorite place in the world. He gets so excited to come here. We're here almost every single day. And because we're here all the time, I've been able to witness the damage of what I can only deem mismanagement by this board, particularly the board members to my right. The library staff here are overworked, they're understaffed, they're not receiving the support that they deserve and they need. They're burned out. I don't blame them because they're not getting support from you. There's so few staff here now that there's no more story times, basically. I can't take my son to story time because it's never happening. And as a parent, I cannot overstate how significant of a loss that is for the community, especially for any families with young children. But I understand that it's because of a staffing issue. I get that. I don't blame the staff. I don't blame the kids-based librarians. I blame you. Sometimes there's only one person who's overseeing multiple floors in this building. Sometimes there's not someone available to cover one of the desks because there are so few staff left. You even have IT overseeing maintenance and repairs that are so beyond the scope of IT, which makes no sense to me. Professionally, I am a director of marketing. In my line of work, we have a practice called campaign optimization. Simply put, it means that you prioritize your time, attention, and spending of marketing dollars on the things that work, and you cut out the things that don't. What works for this library are the staff. They are the heart of this library. They make the programs and the services run. My son, Eli, lights up every time he's here. And I know that the staff love him. They love both of my boys. My boys are safe and seen and at home here. And that's what this library is all about. That's the experience. That's the real value that's not going to show up in your monthly statistics or budget reports. As a parent, I am pleading with you to listen to the staff, listen to their needs. Listen to the people who are giving their all to this library, day in and day out. End the hiring freeze. Give them the support they need. Keep the levy flat. Negotiate with the union in good faith. I want this place to continue to be a beacon of joy, not just for my family, but for the whole community. I don't want it to be just a building with books that is barely functioning. I don't know what political chess game you're trying to play here, but it needs to stop. It really does. This isn't Washington, D.C. It's not a political battleground. It's a library in the suburbs. We just want a library. There's no political points to score here. You are causing real harm to real people in this community. You were elected to serve this community and to support this library. Either start listening to the staff and the community and what they need and what they want out of this library, or step aside and resign so people who actually care can sit in those seats. Thank you.
Thank you.
Kathy Toy.
Kathy Toy. Once again, the agenda does not include a discussion on the hiring freeze. Your fellow board members have asked to have it included on the agenda countless times, and you refuse with the highlighter. You and your two cronies have gutted and destroyed this library in less than 18 months. You are bullies and tyrants. Instead of a discussion on the hiring freeze, you are planning to discuss tax appeals and a check from Utica Insurance Company. The tax appeals and the check should have never been put on the agenda. Those items in a normal library setting are handled by the administration. The tax appeals are sent to the attorney for their opinion. The insurance check is deposited into the account the repairs were charged to. Very simple, But since you have not hired a business manager, you are lost as to the proper procedures that are in place. I also noticed that a new column was added to the statistic report. Why does there have to be a column listing the cost of an outside program? The cost of these programs are listed on the check detail report. My only assumption from my past experience with the three of you is that you are up to no good. Why is there going to be a discussion on processes and procedures in the youth and teen departments? The only solution is to lift the hiring freeze and hire more librarians. The three of you know nothing about how a library runs. You should leave the processes, procedures, and solutions to the very knowledgeable people who work in the department. Stop micromanaging the library and its employees. Now, libel, which is a noun. Definition. Libel is a method of defamation expressed by print, writing, pictures, signs, effigies, or any communication embodied in physical form that is injurious to a person's reputation, exposes a person to public hatred, contempt, or ridicule, or injures a person in his or her business or profession. In closing, I am a member of the Niles Coalition. Our Save Niles Library campaign is made up of concerned community members and patrons to resist this right-wing neoliberal attack by Trustees Derblick, Schoenfeld, and McCullough. We are united in our mission and bring to you these collective demands. Fulfill your duties and appoint Umar Kadir to the vacant board seat. End the unjustifiable hiring freeze that is choking the life out of the library. Expedite a contract with the union. Resign your positions immediately so we can replace you with the library advocates this position requires. Thank you.
Thank you.
Susan Lemke.
Good evening, trustees. I'm Susan Lemke, the former director. Allison, Anna Marie, April, Carmen, Catherine, Cesar, Charles, Claude, Donna, Elisa, Florinda, Gail, Grace, Greg, Greta, Jabez, Jason, Jory, Julie, Laura, Lauren, Lilybeth, Lisa, Lynna, Mallory, Mary, Mary, Melissa, Paul, Paulette, Peter, Rebecca, Rosie, Sandy, Susan, Susie, Thomas, Williette. These are the staff members who have left since the so-called temporary hiring freeze was put into place. Imagine if they were here in this room with us, that the room would be full. They left for a variety of reasons. Not all of them left because of the toxic work environment. People retire, they have family obligations, they have health issues. The point is, though, not one of them, not one, has been replaced. Each person I named had tasks and responsibilities that they were carrying out on behalf of this community. All their work has fallen on the remaining staff. They are staggering under the load. They have been cross-trained, and they have taken on new tasks, and some of them have been promoted from within. They have done everything they can to make sure the community doesn't suffer, but some programs have had to be canceled and desks left unstaffed. We're coming to the last 6 weeks of the year when people expect to spend time with their families and to use the paid time off, which is part of their compensation. You cannot expect the exempt staff, who also have families and paid time off of their own to use, to cover all of those hours. It makes me so very sad to see what this wonderful staff is being put through, and for no reason. The other point I would like to make is about tonight's agenda. I was appalled to see an item that referred to a specific department and its supervisor by name and used the word shortcomings. What on earth were you thinking? It is absolutely inappropriate as well as bizarre and cruel to put such a thing on the agenda. The responsible parties should be ashamed of themselves. Thank you.
Thank you.
Steve Sanders.
Good evening. My name is Stephen Sanders, he, him. Tonight I want to talk about, about the continued underfunding of the Niles-Maine District Library. Well-funded public institutions are the backbone of the community, and this community wants good ones. In this past election, just a few weeks ago, we overwhelmingly voted to increase our property taxes to continue to properly fund our forest preserves. Like the library, the forest preserves are one of our amazing amenities that we have access to in Niles. If this isn't a mandate for increased support of libraries and other public institutions, I don't know what is. Although the drastic budget cuts continue to plague the Niles-Maine District Library, nothing exemplifies this more than our current year-and-a-half-long hiring freeze. Staffing has dropped by another 17% in the last year, although library use has increased over this last year. You can see this across the board in library services. PC use is up by 5%, and staff-mediated spaces are up by 40%, to name a few. Although staffing continues to dwindle, putting more stress on the current staff. This lack of support has other effects. You can see community participation is dropping. Volunteers have dropped by 40% in the last year as well. The budget cuts implemented by the right side of this board have put our community library in a precarious position. The staff are overwhelmed and need this board's support, not vitriol. I ask that you give the staff some well-deserved relief and allow the Niles-Maine District Library to return to the needed staffing. Thank you.
Thank you.
James. Sue.
Good evening. My name is James Suh, Niles resident. While public libraries across our nation are being attacked because of ignorant and hateful opposition against LGBTQ and anti-racist content, like residents cutting off a branch of a tree, what's happening here at the Niles-Maine District Library is much more insidious. Instead of cutting off branches, 3 anti-library trustees to my right are poisoning the tree from its roots. And they're doing this under the manufactured crisis that this library was broken. So I want to be clear. This library was never broken to begin with. It has won multiple national awards, in part because of its moderate spending, and more importantly, its relationship with the community. In fact, other neighboring libraries have looked to this library and adopted some of their successes, like Adaptive Hour, a program catered to those with special needs in our community. What's broken, instead, are the mindset of these 3 anti-library trustees whose actions have led to the fracturing of this library. So it's been a year and a half, as others have mentioned, so let's recap. Number 1, Joe McCullough proposed deprioritizing foreign language materials because he wanted our neighbors to assimilate into the English language, a racist dog whistle that has absolutely no place in our incredibly diverse community. Number 2, one of the very first measures the anti-library trustees voted on was to hire their own friend, their campaign videographer, into an open-ended contract without any formal bidding process. A gross violation of common sense ethics. Isn't that right, Mr. Ethics Board? And what did they do after they hired their friend? Number 3, they voted to implement the current hiring freeze, which others have talked about already, which has led to a significant loss of staffing, which has in turn led to the reduction or cancellation of services and programs tax-paying patrons have come to expect here. Number 4, Carolyn Derblick made it so that any journalist requesting information must do so via FOIA request, which would cost the library more taxpayer dollars than needed and make it difficult for any local journalists who are more needed now than ever. And whatever information is granted comes with heavily redacted, questionable redactions. So much for transparency. Number 5, as president, Carolyn Derblick utterly fails as a leader as she cannot get the board to come together to appoint a trustee to fill in the 7th vacancy. Carolyn, in case you forgot, that's page 14 of the manual, page 14. She is so bad at her job that the state literally had to intervene. Think about that for a moment. Carolyn Derblick is so bad at her job that the Secretary of State had to do it for her. I could go on and on, but we're approaching 2 years into this circus, and it's clear that these 3 anti-library trustees don't care. It's that simple. They prioritize hollow decorum over substance and their own self-inflated egos over the interests of the community. And all for what? What have you guys done? Save a few dollars of property taxes per month? Is that worth destroying the library? Is that worth dividing this community over? Is it worth the national spotlight you've put on this community? There is a national spotlight, by the way. People are looking at this library. So here's my ask, and it's not to the board anymore. It's to the public. Please continue to follow the situation here. Follow local journalism through the Journal and Topics and the Niles Herald Spectator. And if you don't have access to those, guess what? This library here can provide it for you, either a physical copy or an online access. Come in person to these board meetings. There are good people here who show up to these meetings month after month, people who the cameras can't capture, in support of the pro-library trustees to my left here and the workers here. I urge you to speak up. And most importantly, vote. We have an election this coming April in 2023. Make sure people like Carolyn Derblick, Suzanne Schoenfeld, and Joe McCullough don't have any public power in the community moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's all the speakers that had signed up.
All right, thank you. Okay, with respect to the trustees, I would like to read the rules that govern the proceedings of the board.
Point of order,
Your point of order is denied.
which doesn't surprise me.
As you know, the rules of parliamentary practice comprised in
why don't you
Robert's Rules
follow
of
'em?
Order govern the proceedings of the board. There are certain rules contained within Robert's rules with respect to decorum. By reminding you of the rules, I hope it will lead to a more civil and productive debate, which is one of the most important concepts underlying parliamentary procedure. Robert's Rule of Order number 7, debate states speakers must address their remarks to the presiding officer, be courteous in their language and deportment, and avoid all personalities, never alluding to the officers or other members by name where possible to avoid it, nor to the motives of members. Additionally, Robert's Rules of Order number 43, decorum in debate states, in debate, a member must confine himself to the question before the assembly and avoid personalities. All the trustees should refrain from disturbing the assembly, and you should encourage others to do likewise. Consistent with Robert's rules, I am asking each of the trustees to refrain from speaking until recognized, Confine remarks to the merits of the pending question. Refrain from attacking a member's motives. The measure, not the member, is the subject of the debate. Address remarks through the chair. The application of Robert's rules is the best method to enable the Board of Trustees, with due regard for every member's opinion, to arrive at the general will on the maximum number of questions of varying complexity in a minimum amount of time and under all kinds of internal climate, ranging from total harmony to hardened or impassioned division of opinion. Thank you for your cooperation. The next item on the agenda is approval of minutes.
I'd like to motion that we move item 10A up to do that next so that Mr. LaFever doesn't have to stay here all night.
Second it.
Both of us.
Whichever one you feel like, dear.
Okay, so the motion was made to move 10A to 5.
Correct.
Okay. And who seconded? I'm sorry.
Which one did you put? We both said second, so whichever one. Say me.
I'm sorry, can I have, the motion was made by Trustee Keene, and the second was who? All
Me.
right, thank you. I need to note that.
Yeah.
Okay, Margaret, take the roll.
Trustee Derblick,
Yes.
Trustee Schoenfeld, Trustee Makula,
Yes.
Trustee Rosansky,
Yes.
Trustee Olson,
Yes.
Trustee Keene.
Yes.
6-0 passes.
Thank you.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is 10A, levy presentation and discussion. To maintain a smooth and effective process, I would like to explain the procedures we will follow for the presentation and discussion of the levy. I'd like to begin by welcoming Brian LaFever to our board meeting tonight. Brian will begin with his presentation of information about the levy. No questions will be asked or answered during the presentation. Please refrain from shouting out during the presentation. After the presentation, we will follow our regular procedure in which I will call each trustee individually to share their comments. All questions must pertain specifically to the levy. Any other questions will be ruled out of order. No comments or questions by other trustees will be allowed during an individual trustee's comments and will be ruled out of order. Please refrain from shouting out during another trustee's comments. I will repeat the pattern of calling on trustees individually to make sure that everyone's comments will be heard. Thank you. And Brian, if you'd like to begin.
We turn some lights off?
Yeah, you might want to turn the lights down a little bit so we can see it better.
It's too bright.
I'm not sure it's up there yet.
Well, not yet. Can the camera be turned so that the viewers on video can see it?
These lights right here, please turn them off.
Well, we can still see it.
No, I can't.
That's fine. Thank you, Ariane.
What, these three? Yeah.
Oh, this isn't what I wanted. Rich, I asked, is there any way that can be turned so people can see it if they're on the video? The camera? Well, is it too much of a hassle to do it? Because I'm sure people that are viewing this from home would want to be able to see.
Oh, they see that at home.
They see it? Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
it's a split
That's all.
screen.
I just want to make sure the viewers can see what's being
It's
projected.
a split screen,
Okay, cool.
so they can see the board and they can see the presentation.
That's fine. It's more important to me that they can see the presentation. That's wonderful. Thank you for answering the question. Thank you.
And do we have this paper?
So
This is what I dropped off to Monday night, 3
Okay,
pages.
well, let's
Where I've
find
got
it.
to
So where is it?
find where I put that in here.
It's not one of the 3 papers.
Yes.
It is this one?
This isn't the
No,
new stuff you gave us
this is
today
not.
then?
Tax levy by fund. No, the new item you have
Yeah,
today
I
is
understand. I just have to
reprint of
figure out
the
where I set it in this packet.
income statement.
Do you have it? I know it was in my stuff.
Okay, it's the one at the top, tax levy by fund.
No, I don't. These 3, it's not on.
there's 3, and should be 3 individual sheets of paper, I believe.
Yeah. It's just, when I was going through this, I kind of shoved it all in my thing. I have to relocate them.
That's the same name on the top.
Where does it say tax levy by fund?
I know it's here. It's just
Okay, so we
locating
don't
it.
have all- okay.
Okay, and then this is just about the different funds, and breaking up the history of it. I'll go over that later. And then this is the decision-making document.
Okay, thank you. All right, did you find it?
Okay, I see what I did here. Don't worry about it. Talk. Take your time. I'll watch the video or the screen.
Sure, we can wait a few minutes.
No, don't worry about it. I don't want to drag the meeting on. I can pay attention to what's going on the screen. I can see it. I looked at it at home anyway, so.
pages?
You didn't have to bring it. I know it's in this pile of whatever. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Oh, are you waiting for me?
No, Joe, do you have the papers in front of you?
What are we looking?
These, the stuff that
Oh,
he,
that too?
yeah, the stuff that they
Doesn't
sent,
look like what's
the
on the
stuff they dropped
screen.
at our house Monday.
Mine doesn't look like what's on the screen, that's why.
Well, we've got 3 pages.
I know,
This is the,
I could see that. It doesn't look like that. It says that.
We just make another copy.
it's got the same numbers.
I'll grab my card for you.
The only thing they, option 3 isn't up on the screen.
Correct.
That's the only difference.
It's not different. I zoomed it so you could see.
Yeah, I understand.
So I
That's
just
what I'm
need to,
telling
I
her.
just need to scroll
That's the
down.
only difference is because it's not up on the
There
screen.
is no difference, correct.
I'm not criticizing you, please.
No worries.
Do we have to go down by 5%?
I don't think so, no. That's just.
That's. So it goes down by less or go up by less?
Could be $5.
All right, thank you.
Okay. It's all right. Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Diane, are you okay? Because he turned those lights back up. You're okay?
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure.
Not as bad as it was.
Okay, I'm just making sure.
Okay, everybody ready?
Yep.
Okay.
Good evening, everyone. So you should have 3 sheets of paper, which are in one Excel workbook here, so we can move around as we go through the various information. So what I have on the screen here is the tax levy by fund. So back in 2021, you adopted the 2021 tax levy. It was Ordinance 21-04, and that totaled $5,888,132. And across the top of the page, it shows how it was allocated to each of the line items that are on the district's tax levy. So those are the 7 different line items that compose the $5,888,000. Within the last 2 weeks, as you know, the tax bills were delayed by Cook County, and the tax extension report was received within the last 2 weeks. And what the county does is they take the amount that was levied and they add to it a 3% loss in costs. It's just a standard procedure that the county performs. When you add that 3%, the 2021 levy extension is $6,064,777.
Could you speak louder or closer to the microphone?
Sure.
Pull the microphone closer.
The 3% increase for the loss in costs that the county adds brings you to the $6,064,777. So when you think of percentages increasing or decreasing the levy, the county did not give an opinion yet as to whether the 5%, because this year the CPI is 5%, it's actually more than 5%, but PTAB is limited to the lesser of 5% or CPI. CPI is greater than 5%, so the maximum increase under PTAB would be 5%. But we've not gotten any information from the county of whether that 5% applies to the levy that the district adopted of $5,888,000 or the extension of $6,064,000. So what we presented here for you this evening is 3 scenarios, if you will: a 5% increase, a 0% increase or flat, and a 5% decrease. So based on the levy, you see the 3 numbers on the left. So if you increase based on the 3% over the $5,888,000, that would be the $6,182,000.
Mm-hmm.
If you increase based on the extended amount of $6,064,000, you'd get to $6,368,016. And then each of the other numbers fall into place there. So you can see those 3 different scenarios, if you will, just as a point of generating conversation. The other 2 sheets that you have, one is we'll go to the levy allocation, the levy fund allocation worksheet.
Which is which one? The one that's
Yep.
vertical or horizontal? Vertical. Okay, got it. Got it.
So what you see here is in the column that says 2022-23 budget, that was the budget that was adopted for the fiscal year that you're operating in now. That is then converted on the appropriation ordinance to an appropriation number. And you can see that it's separated by fund, and the total budget, $6,646,129. Total appropriation was $13,292,258. So those numbers agree back to the budget and appropriation ordinance that the board adopted earlier this year. When looking at at two of the 6 examples that we saw on the first page that we looked at, if you just looked at the flat amounts, we have projected what would be needed for your special revenue funds based on the fund balances of those funds. And we kept those the same under each of the scenarios. So $10,000 for audit, $40,000 for liability, Social Security, $250,000, workers' comp, $31,000 for unemployment, and $175,000 for the building and site fund. The total amount, the $6,182,539, agrees back to the the 5% increase. I'm sorry, this is the 5% increase, not the flat. But we can change it for any of the amounts. This is set up so that if you say, what's it going to look like if we do this, we can change that. With the general fund being the balancing number to get to the totals. So we can change these in any shape and fashion that you want to look at. The last page has a lot of numbers, and we don't need to go into a lot of details in this. I just wanted to provide you the fund balances for the fiscal year ended June 30th, 21, based on that audit. The numbers that were provided to the auditors, and we're waiting for the draft audit for the year ended June 30th, 2022, and then what the numbers look like for the FY 22-23 year per the budget document to get to what your fund balance would be at June 30th, 2023. And then there's some more calculations there as well, but I'll pause for questions and see where you all want to go.
If you're ready for questions?
I had one question. If the fund balance is above, higher or lower than the amount that you have here, that amount would come from a cash amount, right? Or go back to cash?
So fund balance is cash.
Oh.
Fund balance is your reserves. Fund balance is your cash and investments.
Right. Well, it would go back to cash or originate from cash then.
Right. So there's money in the bank account.
Right.
And then there'll be a tax levy.
It's just an allocation of that money.
So when you levy for particular line items, say audit, liability, insurance, it has to be used for that particular purpose.
Correct.
So those are tracked in separate funds.
Right.
And that's what those fund balances tell you is what are the reserves or the cash and investments in those funds.
Right. Okay.
Now, while there's no tax levy for your special reserve fund, the only way you can increase that special reserve fund is through transfers from your general fund for future capital projects.
Could you repeat that last sentence? There's no tax levy.
So you don't.
For special
So your
reserves.
special reserve is the fund that's used for your long-term capital projects. So say the projects that you need to do over the next 3, 5, 10 years. The way that those are paid for typically is through the special reserve fund. And the special reserve fund doesn't have a tax levy, but rather if you have funds over and above your fund balance policy of 6 months in your general fund, the board can approve a transfer of those funds over to the special reserve fund. So the spreadsheet that's up there now, or the page that you have, is the fund balance summary. So if we look at the first section of that fund balance summary, this shows the audited numbers from the fiscal year ended June 30th, 2021. So at that point, you can see the general fund had a fund balance or reserves or cash and investments, whatever you want to call that, of $6,637,808. And you go across the board. At that point, the Social Security fund was in a deficit, meaning it had spent more money than it had. So essentially, the other funds were loaning money temporarily. Special reserve fund at that point had a balance of $3,727,000. So the total was $10,654,465. So our Sickage team prepared work papers that were provided to the auditors for the audit that they're currently working on now for the year ended June 30th, 2022. And based on those work papers that we provided are the next section, which shows the estimated fund balance at June 30th, 2022, $8,987,259 for the general fund. You go across, and there was some expenditures in the special reserve that was at $3,664,000, and the total then was at $13,141,876. Then when you then flow that into the budget that was adopted for the year ended June 30, 2023, if everything went exactly according to the budget, then you'd have these fund balances at June 30th, 2023. So then the math that we did here, because the library has a fund balance policy of reserves of 6 months of expenditures for its general fund, and then a range of 3 to 6 months for its other special levy funds, if you will. 6 months of expenditures then is listed on that next line. So for example, six months of expenditures for the audit fund with a budget of $10,000, 6 months would be $5,000. So it's simply 50% of the budgeted numbers. If you take the estimated fund balance as a percent of those budgeted expenditures, the audit fund would be with a fund balance of $3,033, would be at a fund balance of 33% of the year of expenditures with about 3 months. Or I'm sorry, it's exactly 4 months. The next line is the mathematical amount of months of estimated reserves at June 30th, 2023. So the audit fund is a little bit less than the 6 months if you just apply the 6 months across the board, a little bit over if you go with the 3 months. Given the fact that tax bills didn't go out on a timely basis, 6 months is probably a better approach at this point.
Because the money hasn't come in
Because of the
yet.
timing of the cash flows. Because if we haven't received a tax bill, then obviously, the local governments such as the library district have not received those property taxes either. So that walks you through that. So those are the 3 documents we have put together for you. Generally, a dollar amount is determined by the board on how much the tax levy will be. Once the tax levy is determined, then usually the numbers in terms of how they're allocated between funds are then determined.
That's the presentation.
So fund allocation can come from the tax levy, or let's say we have money coming in on investments, or from cash, we'll be able to fund any of these various accounts.
So if you look at the, if you look at the actual numbers for, or the budgeted numbers, for the 2022-23 year, there's budgeted $5,170,000 in property tax revenue. And other revenue streams like investment income was budgeted to be $434,100. So property taxes is, over, 90% of the revenues for the district.
Okay, well, now that we have received all of your information, I guess I can open it up to the trustees who have comments about the levy and any suggestions they would like to make. I'd like to start with Trustee Keene.
That's something new.
Mm-hmm.
No comment at this point.
Trustee Olson, do you have any input for our levy?
Not at this point, no.
Trustee Rosansky.
The main thing I would like to say is thank you for being as professional as you're being, and thank you for not giving us opinions.
Trustee Schoenfeld. Trustee Makula.
Yes, I went through all the information of fund balances and cash balances, and I have a presentation to make here. I've been paperwork. I'll pass it out.
If you didn't post this on board book, it should not be in the
No,
meeting,
it
and
shouldn't be.
it's not allowed.
No,
No.
it should have been so that everybody could see it, all our residents.
All right. The currently, we had a cash balance at the beginning of this year, this budget year, at July 1st, 2022, of $13,399,830. Regardless of whatever levy we pass tonight, our projected cash balance, if we go through our budget and spend what we're budgeted, and we take in the amounts that our first installment next year will be 55% of this year's, and the final expected amount on this installment, plus the other income, we'll have a balance of $12,374,739 in our cash and investment account. Our levy from the year last year, 21, July 1st, 2021 through June 30th of this year was $588,000, $5,888,132. We only spent $5,609,638. We had a surplus that went back into cash of $278,494. I have a worksheet on the revenue that we would get through between now and July 1st of next year or June 30th.
Trustee McCool, I have a question. The last figure you just gave of 200,000, where is that from?
That is the surplus of what we levied and the amount we actually spent.
Okay, so it's levy versus what we spent, not budget what we spent.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Plus, we also had funds coming in from the 400 and whatever thousand coming in from various grants, investment income, et cetera, et cetera.
All right, thank you.
Unfortunately, I can't pass this out, so it's going to be hard to
No,
do.
it's fine.
We
I just
understand
needed
what you're
the
saying,
number.
Joe.
Okay. Currently, the funds at the beginning of this year were $13,399,830. Expected revenue with last year's, the second installment will reflect the $5,888,000 tax levy of last year. We'll receive expected revenue between now and June 30th is $5,621,038. That leaves us at, we'll have funds available between now and June 30th of next year of $19,020,868. If we take and subtract our $6,646,129 budget from that, we end up at next June 30th or July 1st of $12,374,739 in our cash and investment account. That's a repeat of what I said on the first page here. Irregardless of what we do, we're going to end up with that. If we spend the money in our budget, all of it, and we get in the expected revenue. So we're going to have $12 million at the end of the fiscal year. As a comparison, in previous years, I had the numbers here that what the balance was. I don't know if it's here or not, where it's at. Okay. What I'm proposing is to bring that $12,374,000 down, which is almost 2 years of operating expenses. That includes the capital budget would be in there, though. I propose a levy of $4 million. And that, at the end of that levy, I have worked it all the way through till the end of the June 30th, 2024. At that point, we would have a cash and investments of $8,836,982 on a $4 million tax levy currently. $8,836,982.
So, Joe,
now,
can I ask you a quick
excuse me,
question?
let me finish.
Okay.
Okay. Our fund balances for the 6 months operating expenses are, I come up with the number of $3,038,565. We're going to deplete some of the money out of the capital account in this budget, $569,000. And our capital account at that time will, less capital expenditures, yes. Our capital account would be at the end of this budget year $3,095,000. So some of this will be coming out of the capital account. We will still have plenty of money with the $8,800,000 at the end of 2024. At the end, at the June 30th, 2024, we would still have $8,836,000, and it's about almost $3 million more than our minimum required for the capital account and the 6 months operating expenditures.
So you're stating 4 million, how much? That's all I wanted to ask you.
Pardon?
What was the amount you were suggesting, Joe? Could you please repeat it? 4 million what?
Proposing a levy of exactly $4 million.
Exactly 4 million?
Correct.
Compared to what is it?
Yeah.
And we would end up with, at the end, at the end.
I heard what you had said before,
the end
Joe.
of
I
this
just
year-
didn't hear the number. That's all.
Okay.
Thank you.
And that would bring our cash and investment balance more in line with every other taxing district. No taxing district is holding 2 years of funds in cash and investments. At the end of this year, we would have, at the end of this budget year, because these taxes are in arrears, we would still have $12,374,739 roughly, and probably more than that, because we probably won't spend all of our budget.
Again, please.
He was saying 4 million.
And there's another factor too. Our investment income is increasing because of higher interest rates, and maturing securities are being replaced with those with higher income.
Okay, is that?
That's it.
That's everything? Okay.
Any questions? I'm sure there's a lot.
Yeah, you said propose a $4 million levy.
Correct.
That's what he's proposing.
Okay, so what is
So
what
he's
is our
saying-
levy now? What figures
Pardon?
amount?
It's these three numbers that were suggested.
Our levy last year was 5.888 million.
Oh.
5,888,000.
And you're proposing 4 million
Yes,
as
he is.
opposed to what we have now, 588. Thank you.
Are there any other trustees who would like to share information or make some suggestions?
I'm still thinking.
I personally think we have the professional here who gave us figures, and if you want to lower it, fine. But why not go down the 5% like was suggested for the decrease? You want to go down more.
The reason is we have
I understand. You
a
said we
very
have too
large
much money
cash
in the
balance,
bank.
and we're
I
going to utilize
understand
that and not charge our taxpayers extra.
I understand.
Our current cash balance is excessive. As prudent guardians of public funds, it is our fiduciary responsibility to levy only what we need and not hoard excessive funds.
Thank you, Joe.
Well, it's also our responsibility to take care of our library and.
We're funding our budget in
infrastructure.
full, the $6,600,000.
We've been deficient, I think, in
Whatever.
taking care of our library.
And I personally feel the decreased amount that was suggested by the professional is sufficient for a decrease versus the 4 million.
I believe the accountant didn't make any recommendations. He
Well, the
just
numbers
listed
he has here of 5%
information.
decrease, the level, and the 5% decrease, which is standard amount of variation.
The 5% increase is limited by law. The decrease, there's no limit. Why
Is
he
that
came up
true,
with
sir?
that second number, I don't know.
Is
Just
there a limit
calculations.
about the amount of decrease?
I'm sorry?
He said by law, there's a limit of 5% increase. Is there a law pertaining to the amount of decrease? He's saying no.
I don't think there's,
We have a lawyer here.
I don't think there's a limit to how much you decrease it. The question becomes, if you decrease it, can you ever increase it again? I don't know that answer.
Thank you.
That's a legal question. Because
Thank
I don't know if you're resetting your base, that you can then never go back. So you would be, you would be reducing your fund balance, but then if you kept reducing it by the same amount every year, I don't know at what point that you're allowed
Well,
to recover that.
realistically,
I think
we
they
won't
go
have
by
the
an
same
average.
board next year, hopefully.
They go by an average of several years.
I think the
So
attorney can
the
answer that.
answer to that question or point is, there is a new law that allows library districts to recapture certain levy amounts as a result of not maxing out their total levy. So if you don't max out your levy, there is a new law that allows the library to be able to recapture that.
So do we have any,
There's no limit on it.
are we having any suggestion on our voting? Is anybody putting,
I move that we approve a tax levy of $4 million for the 22-23 tax year.
I don't think so. But 4 million?
We're not on that part of the discussion yet. We're just still discussing.
well, I just
We're
said,
not
are we
voting.
on that
Yeah,
part?
No.
You don't feel we are? You have stuff to discuss?
Well, I can
No,
go
it's on the
around-
agenda.
I
We
can
have
go
to move on
around.
to the agenda item that pertains to a vote.
Oh,
I
okay.
can go around and ask the trustees if you have any more questions. Are we there, or are you finished with your questions for this part of the levy?
So
Because-
Joe, what is the percentage of decrease you're talking about?
He
What is
just
the
has a number.
percentage? Well, I want to know.
I know, he's,
The percentage of decrease from what?
from the, what,
Well, you're proposing a 4 million from the 5888132. That's flat. A decrease would only bring it to
The
559.
percentage is irrelevant. It's because we have a large cash hoard. That's what is the point of the matter.
okay, so we have to go, if I'm understanding you correctly, Carolyn, we have to go to the next thing, which is the vote, before we can do the vote?
Well, if we're finished discussing and everyone's ready to present an option for vote, then we would go to that level,
I
that
don't know.
stage.
At this point,
I mean, are we finished with discussion?
I would like to know, like, if Cindy or Brian has anything to say about what a $4 million levy might do to the library. I mean, it's not facts, I understand that, but is that something you would endorse or recommend? If you can say, if not, I understand.
I'm not familiar with the recapture provision, so I don't know how much you can recapture if you can go back. I don't know when your new base is set, given it's a new law. That would be my my question in needing to understand, because the numbers that the trustee presented are very similar to the numbers that are in the information that we distributed. There's not much different there. So if your fund balance, if your reserves came down by X number of $1 million each year, at what point can you get back to a levy that's in line with your expenditure? I don't know how that law works,
Okay.
because it is new. So that would be the question that I would have. I don't know that.
Well, does the lawyer know?
When is this law from, Dennis?
Recapture it now.
Dennis, you were asked a question?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
When is the law from? How, you said it was new? How new is it?
It's actually effective this 2022 tax year.
And can you,
So next year, you'll be able to recapture it if you want to, or part of it, depending on how the calculations
so if we
go.
lower the levy this year, we can go up with the levy next year, is what you're saying?
Yes.
Are there any percentages
not
that
new.
are limited in?
Ask Joe, he knows both.
Yeah, there is. I'm not sure what the calculation is. I'd have to look at that.
What if we kept it flat or increased it? Then what would we be able to do next year?
Same thing. If you don't levy up to your maximum amount that you can levy to, you have the ability to go back and attempt to do that and catch up.
At the end of this budget year, we will still have $12,374,739 in cash. I think you're in pretty close agreement with me on that.
Joe?
Correct. It's when you get to June 30th, 24, that
Yeah.
the numbers would go down, and that's why.
Right. But
But let's say you couldn't recapture.
But he says we can.
Correct, but we haven't seen that implemented by Cook County, so I would make sure that the county
It sounds a little risky.
The county
Yes,
has to follow
it
state
does.
law.
understood, but it's not like all the counties in the state get together to determine how to implement something. So when something's new, and every county can determine things differently. So I would just, I know you don't want my opinion.
No, I appreciate
but
you being
we're not
honest.
asking
But what I would tell you is, Cook County is going to do things the way Cook County wants to do them.
Exactly, the way they always do.
And that's not anything offensive towards anyone, but they're the largest county in the state, so they're going to implement it the way that they see fit. So I would think you'd want a document from the county before you finalized your tax levy. That's just my opinion.
Thank you.
We don't have time for that. We've got to come up with something tonight.
So the effect that it's going to have is it's going to pull down the reserves because you're going to still spend the budget. You're not going to levy for the amount of the budget.
Yeah.
So you're going to be pulling down your reserves.
That's what Joe explained.
Yeah, so that's, that is the effect of it. The investments, Joe, it is laddered out. It isn't just sitting there that you can just tap into it. You have to wait for the maturity of those bonds. So, it is a 3-year ladder.
They can be liquidated at any point in time. They have a market price every day, every minute.
Is there a penalty for doing that?
Of course.
Well, loss of money, you lose.
There is probably, yes.
It'd be at the market value of the investment as of the day it was sold.
So it is not
If you sold,
necessarily.
if you sold an investment prior to maturity, then
You get less money,
You don't know that. You could get more. It depends what the market value is as of the day of its sold.
more likely than not, less.
4 million sounds
Are
so
we-
low,
This
too
is
low.
only our second year.
Carolyn, are we allowed to make statements now, or?
I've been asking if anyone had
Well,
comments.
yeah,
so
and
if
Joe
you're
has
ready.
just been shouting stuff out. So
Okay.
can we actually talk now?
Joe
Yes.
Makula, I don't think he said a word, but I can start with.
Oh, please, dear
Trustee Keene
God.
again, please, you have something to say, by all means. I had asked twice.
I would like
No
to know.
comments, please. It doesn't matter. No comments
You don't
from the
talk to the
audience.
board.
No comments from the audience.
Oh,
Public
please.
comments are
Get
over.
your gavel out, President. This is
No
ridiculous.
comments.
She wants to be gavelled because she's a buddy and she figures if she's gavelled, then it makes her less a buddy. Okay, go
I
ahead.
was
Can we
about-
Trustee
continue,
Keene,
please?
I think,
Yes, I was going to ask what was being conversed over there because I didn't get to hear what Dennis was saying.
I was asking him if he could help us understand if we go with a $4 million levy, how is it that we can recoup this next year? How do we figure that out?
Okay, and the
So
answer?
he was not answering
Yeah,
that.
there's a formula that Cook County has, and I don't have it memorized, but there, like I said, under the new law, there is a way to recapture some of what you didn't levy this year if you didn't maximize your tax levy amount, which you haven't done. So, will you likely do that?
We're looking at, we're looking at 2 years, the end of this year's budget and the next year's budget. At the worst-case scenario, we're down to about almost $9 million from our $12 million balance.
So if on page 54 in your packet is this agency rate draft document, and it is on that document that you're able to, they work with the numbers on this document to figure out how you can recapture it and how much of the levy you're not actually getting this year. So it has to do with the comparison of the limiting rate. And then way at the bottom of the page, it has to do with the agency rate. Let me find this number.
I do have another question for Dennis.
No, it does.
Because my understanding was that if we have a levy, a 2022 levy that is equal to the 2021 levy or even a slightly higher, then the reduction from last year becomes permanent.
What? I didn't hear
The reduction
Becomes permanent.
from last
No,
year.
that was the law, that is not the law. any longer.
I feel like it's such a shame that these things are coming up in the meeting when we have to actually vote on them. It's not, this kind of stuff should have been brought to us before. Not on Dennis's fault, I'm not saying that, just, this is the kind of thing that, impacts our decisions, and to bring it to us in the middle of the meeting is not when it should happen.
We do have until the first Tuesday in December to make a decision, and I agree, I would like more information regarding this. We could have a special board meeting once we get the information.
I think we should have a meeting when we have a seventh trustee and then vote on it.
You have to have your levy filed by
We
the
heard what
first
you said.
Tuesday in December.
We heard what you said.
So that's why I'm
Adopted.
doing this today.
Adopted.
Adopted.
So that's why we had the meeting today.
Are you willing to postpone the meeting and have a special meeting?
Yeah, when we have a seventh trustee. Hopefully it will be by then, or before.
Okay, are we
We're
going to ask?
1.8 million below what we levied last year.
Thank you, Joe.
Okay, it's no big thing.
Thank you, Joe. The other board members would like a turn to talk. Will you please ask the other board members so we can get this part of the meeting dealt with?
Trustee Keene, did you have anything further?
No.
Trustee Olson?
Not at this time.
Trustee Rosansky?
Yes. I'm not saying I'm against a decrease, but I am against going that much of a decrease. If we're going to decrease it, I think the 5% is sufficient.
Could you give me an amount, though?
It's written right here, $5,593,725. It's right here.
Okay, no, I just want it on the record so we can have an amount. Thank you
It's
for
the,
reading it.
it's the same amount that was presented to us. Not the 4 million that was pulled out of Joe's mouth a short while ago.
To the 4 million, Diane, you asked that question. The 4 million is a 32%.
It's
Yeah,
too
that's ridiculous.
ridiculous.
32% of what?
Percent decrease.
In what?
Instead of a
levy.
5% decrease in the
32%
levy, it's
from what?
32%.
5,888,000 down to 4 million is a 32%
Okay, thanks.
decrease.
Thank you.
Which is not irrelevant, it's very relevant.
5,888,000, okay.
I think a 32% decrease is a little more than necessary. 5% is sufficient.
Yeah, but we have 40%
Yeah,
more
but
cash than
Joe,
we need.
we've heard your argument. It's always the same. I'm telling you my opinion.
Okay.
I think 5% is sufficient. And I frankly don't care how much you try to explain it to me. I hear you the first 3 times you told me.
We have too much cash. We're
I
holding
heard
too
you
much
the
cash.
first 3 times. Thank
Okay.
you, Joe.
We need to reduce it.
Thank you, Joe.
Very simple.
We will
Okay,
be
all right,
reducing
all right,
it by
okay.
going down
No more back-
5%.
no more
Thank
back
you,
and
Joe.
forth. Trustee Rosansky, it was your turn. Are you finished? Should I move on?
Yes, hopefully.
Trustee Schoenfeld?
No comment.
Trustee McCullough, did you have anything to add?
No,
Okay.
I've said everything. I mean, we have we're going to end up this year, if we do what I'm saying, 4 million in tax levy, and on June 30th, we're going to have still $12,374,739. You can raise your levy slightly next year and the year after if you think that's not enough. You're still going to end up with at least $8,800,000 in a year and a half from now, or 19 months from now, or whatever, in 24, at the end of June in 24. You're still going to have, if you raised your levy, you may end up with $10 million at that point.
Okay, I would
Okay?
like to.
We have plenty of cash. We shouldn't be holding it.
Thank you, Joe.
Give it back to the
Thank you,
taxpayers
Joe.
or don't charge them. A lot of
Why
people are
don't we
struggling.
start taking care of the
Thank you.
library?
Can you give, you wouldn't let me to be talking at this
We're
point.
not
right,
cutting
can
the
I-
budget, we're taking care of the library.
Okay, no more back and forth. I'd like to make a couple of comments if it's acceptable. All right, Patty proposed $5,593,000. Our budget is $6,646,000.
So it's still lowering it.
And I was, you mentioned 5% lower, but is 5% lower than the budgeted amount? What is he taking the 5% off
What
of?
is that 5% lower than the budget? That you,
I thought
it's
it
your
had nothing-
figures.
So I'll put this back on the screen.
I would rather have him explain it since he's the professional.
So the The levy that the board adopted was $5,888,132 a year ago.
So it's 5% less than the
5%.
budget last year, is that what you're saying? If I'm understanding you?
The levy that the board adopted last year was $5,888,132. The number of $5,593,725 is 5% less than what was levied last year.
Thank you.
The $4 million is a 32% decrease
Thank you.
from the levy last year.
I think we need to consider passing this levy because we need to fund the library, so I'd like to seriously have everyone consider what amount we should do. We've got to come up with a solution. If 4 million's not working,
It's not.
we've got 5.5. It's $1.5 million more.
I'm convinced the 4 million is going to work. We don't have a problem. We're going to get through this year, and if we increase it next year, we could have as much as 10 million 19 months from now sitting in the
We
treasury.
don't know if we're going to increase it next year. Let's plan on the 5593 is a 5%
We have,
increase.
right now, almost two years of funds in our cash and investments. It's slightly low now, it's only 12 million, because we haven't got our second installment, because the county hasn't sent the tax bill out yet. I don't know what they're waiting for. They're like 3 months late, or 4 months late. We would have quite a bit more cash.
I think I heard the tax
now.
bills are online now.
Pardon?
I think I heard the real estate
Oh,
tax
yeah.
bills are online. You could see your taxes there.
But we haven't collected the taxes yet, so they have 30 days to pay them.
Okay, by the way, I guess I didn't realize, I need to second,
She already seconded.
was it
didn't she?
seconded?
Suzanne?
Was what seconded?
That was made and seconded.
Joe's 4 million.
For 4 million.
Who seconded it?
I seconded.
So it's a motion that's pending on the floor.
My mistake. Kula and Sue.
How did we even get from 10A to 10B, though? I'm not,
Oh, that's right, we didn't go to 10B yet. Don't you need to say something to get us to the next section so we can do the vote?
Well, the motion came up under the wrong agenda item. So I still have to address
You
it.
can withdraw the motion. If he wants to.
Okay, and then what?
And then she withdraws the second, and then it's no longer.
But here's the problem. Okay. Trustee McCullough, can you withdraw your motion because we're on agenda item 10A? The agenda item to vote on a levy is 10B. So if you could withdraw your motion, we could.
All right, I withdraw it.
Withdraw the second?
I second.
All right, thank you. They're both withdrawn.
Dennis, is there a code citation that I can look up for that?
For the new law? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's section 190.7 of the Illinois Property Tax Code, which is 35 LLC 200/18-190.7.
Well, let's see what comes up. I didn't get all of that, but.
I can send it to you if you'd like.
Thank you.
Well, I mean, that's the kind of thing I would have, because that's not what I have been understanding in preparation. When I've been getting ready for tonight, that's not what I was finding. So that's the kind of thing that would have been helpful before coming in here.
I don't know if it's necessary.
So, I mean, that's the kind of thing I need to see right now before voting on this. I need to make sure that what you're saying is what's going to actually happen, because that's not what I was informed.
What can you tell us specifically that we can do? Is it still too gray?
Well, yeah, it's,
Are we going
If we
to
go
the
down-
next section then, or?
Yeah, I guess, but I'm not
Okay,
comfortable
but we need to
having a vote.
move that line, that agenda item up, just like we moved 10A.
Yes.
So we need a motion. Do
I
have a-
motion to move 10B up to, what is it, 5?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, we are now on 10B, which is adoption of the Niles-Maine Library Levy Ordinance for the fiscal year 2022-2023.
I move to table this item till a later date when we can review this new law and possibly have a seventh trustee to vote.
See what I mean? I need you to bail me.
Second.
Okay, Margaret, please call the roll.
Yes, Diane was the second.
What are we voting
We're
on right now?
tabling, she wants to table the levy vote.
Until we can investigate this new law.
He just told us what the law is. There's not a problem.
Okay, Margaret, please call
We're
the
doing
roll.
it tonight or we're not.
Thank you, Joe.
Oh, is it going to be your way or the highway again?
Yes,
That's what
it
it sounds
is.
like. Let's go.
Okay,
As
trust-
usual.
if I may. Trustee Derblick?
No.
Trustee Schoenfeld?
No.
Trustee Makula?
No.
Trustee
Yes.
Rosansky?
Do with this.
Trustee Olson?
Yes.
Yeah, it's just,
Trustee Keen?
I mean,
Yes.
you can increase
3 to
it by
3 fails.
5% of this year's levy.
That's why he did that. He exceeded, he increased it by 5 and then he lowered it.
There's no way 4 million. I'm telling you now.
It's normal.
Greedy.
I'm willing to go down, but not to 4 million.
32%, no way.
I think that you're being a little bit of a bully here with that amount, and I refuse.
You know, last year you
I
said.
don't care, Joe, because I've heard you talk how much already. You're saying the same stuff over and
No,
over.
this is something else.
No, we don't want to hear about last year.
Last year, you told us lower or no. Are you going to tell us that again this year?
You know, last year you said you were going to give an abatement, and you didn't. We gave you 3 chances.
No,
You
we
didn't.
didn't say.
3 chances.
You
said
said
no.
you would give an abatement. We did not.
You said
Don't
at
put
the
words
levy that
in my
you would
mouth,
consider an
Joe.
abatement. and you-
Don't put words in my mouth, Joe.
Don't argue with him.
You decreased the levy, and you told us lower it or no levy last year. This is more of your bullying, telling us, no, we can't just lower it
Well, you know
5%,
what?
we have to lower it 32%.
We can get by with a levy of 0. We'll
Of course,
survive.
you
Again,
All right, let's
we
vote.
said that
Let's
last
vote.
year.
Let's
President
vote.
Derblick, move it.
What are we voting for? I don't have a motion.
Well, that's,
Do something.
Well, would you like to present a motion?
I will.
Go ahead.
I would like to motion, for the lower amount of the levy, the 5% decrease of $5,593,725.
Second.
Do I have a second?
Do we have a second?
Yeah. Both of us, again. Just Becky, yes.
Trustee Derblick? Should I take a vote?
I'm sorry, call the roll.
Thank you. So the motion is for $5,593,725 for the levy. Okay, Patty motioned and Trustee Kean seconded. Trustee Derblick?
Yes, I pass.
You pass? Okay. Trustee Schoenfeld?
I pass right now. Sure you do.
Trustee Makula?
No.
Trustee Rosansky?
Yes.
Trustee Olson?
Yes.
Trustee Kean?
I pass.
Sue, we gotta come up with something.
So what happened?
Now we have to go back to Sue and then Carolyn and then me.
Yes,
So-
those 3,
Yes.
or those 2 who passed have to say what they want before Trustee Keane does.
Thank you. Trustee Derblick, I'm back to you.
Like ever? Like this year?
1 second, please. If we don't do this.
They're not going to levy anything on your behalf.
Can we hear the conversation, please?
No, of course not.
No.
And you won't get any tax dollars next year.
Okay, so if we don't agree to a levy amount tonight,
We get 0 tax dollars.
yeah.
No, we
Yes.
have until December 6th to come up with a number.
Yes, we do. We have to.
You said so yourself
I
earlier
know, but
tonight.
what I'm saying is we don't have a board meeting and we can never get a special board meeting. So maybe we need to take this a little more seriously.
I'm willing to
No, I'm not
decrease
saying
it.
you're not. I'm not saying you're not. I'm
Patty.
saying we need to come up with an amount. 4 million is 38% less.
Well,
I
we have a
understand.
vote on the table.
What vote? We just voted.
No, you passed,
You
Sue passed, and I passed. So
Suzanne
let's finish the
passed,
vote on
Becky,
the
So we have
table.
nothing, because the three of you
President,
passed.
you can say yes, and it'll be over and done, and we can move on.
I know, but I'm not sure what amount I want to go with. I
Well,
know I
let's
don't.
vote on the amount that's on the table right now, and then we can
Yes.
move on.
All right, I'm going to vote no, and we're going to discuss it.
Okay. So no. And trustee Schoenfeld?
Of course.
No. And trustee McCullough already voted. And trustee Keen?
Yes.
Okay.
So we just gave you an
So-
opportunity to lower the levy, and you turned it down.
Okay, so let's
Just for the
rethink
record, it's
fact
3-3, so it
that
fails.
gotta come up with a
Yes,
number.
we know that. Thank you for reminding us.
5.9. I don't want to go with 4.
Oh, excuse me, what is all this private conversation?
I'm trying to get them to agree to this levy vote. Sorry, I mean, I could speak in the speaker, I don't mind in the microphone. We
you
have
go-
to come up with a decision.
Will you go 4.5 million?
No,
No, that's just,
Well, we don't go any lower than what we just said.
No, then,
That's it.
then
that's
it's
the
it's
low.
not going to go anywhere
That is
then.
going down, Joe.
I have no problem walking out of here with no levy.
Yeah, I mean, we were willing to decrease it, Joe.
We have too much cash. We need to cut it down.
We understand what you feel, Joe, but we are willing to decrease the levy, Joe.
Not enough.
Well, that's your opinion.
All right, you got your
this is
opinion.
what was presented
Exactly.
to us.
And
This
we
is what
will never
makes
match,
sense.
apparently. I will not go down below.
Brian, can I ask you a question? A $5 million levy, that would be another 593,000 off, what percentage would that be? Not much more, but
5 million,
straight
she
5
said.
million?
Straight 5 million.
I mean, remember, we have the whole rest
From
of the meeting
last
to go through
year's-
tonight, too.
Yeah, well, let her get her answer.
That'd be a 15% decrease.
All right, thanks. So is our goal to come up with a decision tonight? I mean, is that what we're all here for?
Pardon?
Normally,
Is it our goal to come up with a levy tonight?
Yes, yes,
Okay,
yes, for sure.
all right, 4's not working.
If 4 doesn't work.
So do you have another amount you could
Well, do
consider?
you have
I
one,
proposed
President?
4.5. I'm
and
willing to
we
come
say
up.
no.
Well, then you got to come down a little more.
We're not coming down below, give
All
us
right, I have
another
I have
higher
a-
amount. Because you're,
Let her speak.
I motion that we approve a levy in the amount of $5 million for the 22-23 fiscal year. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you.
Was that
What was the
Diane?
number?
5 million.
5 million.
Second.
which is a lot better than 4.
Margaret, please call the roll.
Thank you. Trustee Derblick?
Yes.
Trustee Schoenfeld? Trustee McCullough?
What is this?
Pass.
Trustee Rozansky?
What?
Yes,
Trustee Olson?
No.
What did Joe
they
say?
both said
5
pass.
million.
They both said pass, it's for 5 million.
Yes.
Trustee
No.
Olson, yes.
No.
Trustee Keen? No.
No.
I
Okay,
vote
trustee-
yes.
They
Wait,
just
first
fucking
I have to
tricked
ask Suzanne. Trustee Schoenfeld?
Yes.
Yes.
Just,
Trustee
we've
McCullough?
got a budget, at least
Yes.
give me some tax dollars.
Thank you.
Okay, so I just want to
think,
recap.
You know what? I accept some bullying, but the 4 million is not
you. No,
gonna
but they
be.
just tricked you into
It's-
voting for a $5 million.
Yes, they
No,
did
we didn't
trick
trick her.
Yes.
We didn't
Yes,
trick
you
her.
did.
Why would you say that? I wanted a levy. That's
Yeah,
nothing I
yeah,
could
you
think
wanted
of.
the
Because
levy.
why did you pass? Like you didn't know what you were going to vote.
I had no idea.
I don't believe
Then why in
you.
the heck did
You
you
know what,
make?
Trustee Keene, I'm sorry, I just can't get down to your level.
No,
Okay.
you're lower.
All right, so for
Okay,
the record,
next thing on the agenda,
for the record,
please.
I just want to make sure it was 5-1, so it did pass.
Thank you.
Thank you for 5 million.
Now we're done with the levy.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Go ahead and laugh some more.
Okay.
I sure did.
Yeah, I'll get that figured out.
Sorry, this is such a mess.
Oh, I'm glad you passed the levy.
So much.
No, okay, one moment, Dennis, please. Dennis, okay, one moment, just like we did last year, right? Okay, so this vote is for the adoption of the Niles-Maine District Library Levy Ordinance, right? So we're going to take this number and we are creating an ordinance out of this 5 million.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Based on the appropriations of the budget appropriations ordinance, because you can't levy more than you've appropriated.
Right.
Can you please send me that citation?
I mean,
Can you please send me the citation?
of what?
That you were talking about, that changed?
The law with
The law that changed?
I give it to you. It's,
Can you email it to me, please? Sure. Thank you.
Thank you.
yeah, I'll email it to Cindy, circulate it to the entire board.
Thank you very much.
So this will be ordinance 2204,
Yes.
levy ordinance,
Do you want me to restate it correctly?
yes,
Thank you.
please.
10A.
That's 10B, because that's the adopted, yeah.
Thank you. Okay. So, I motion to adopt the Niles-Maine District Library Levy Ordinance number 22-04 for the fiscal year 2022-2023 in the amount of $5 million. Are we good with the terminology and everything?
Yes, you had motioned it, and Diane had seconded it originally, so I have that down. Thank you.
Okay, we are moving back to 5 now.
That's right, we didn't do any of that.
No, we didn't.
So it's approval of minutes number 5. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes of the April 20, 2022 regular board meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. All right, we have a movement and a second. Trustee McCula, any comments?
No comments. This one's been around a long time.
Thank
so-
you, Jeff.
Trustee Schoenfeld?
No comment.
Trustee Rosansky?
No comment.
Trustee Olson?
Anything changed on it?
No.
no.
I don't believe
Then no,
so.
the answer is no.
Trustee Keene?
I'd just like to request that this be taken off the agenda going forward because we're clearly not going to agree on it, so why do we keep wasting paper on time on it?
So are we going to vote?
Well, I just wanted to mention that when you look at the attachment, which you don't see when you get the agenda printed this way, but if you're looking online, the attachment actually has no change next to, in the title, so you know that it's no change. But it doesn't print out on the agenda. So anyway, we're tweaking that, so you'll be able to look at it and know it's changed or not changed
Okay, thank you.
quickly, but.
Online, you're saying?
Well, we'll work on the agenda so it's obvious here, because you're not looking at it online.
Carolyn, Trustee Derbelik? Did you want to vote on the minutes?
I
Because
did
know
want to, I
trustee
just wanted to
Keane-
mention one thing on page 4. Under the president's report, it says differences in opinions exit. It should say exist.
Oh, my God.
I'm sorry, where are you?
Just a
Exit, got
typo.
it.
After all these months.
Well, I've
Differences
noticed
in
it, but
opinions.
usually we're so controversial. We're a little more quiet this evening. I got it out.
Okay, so what's it gonna say?
So what is it? It's page,
Exist is the word
Exist?
instead of exit, I think it says.
But everything else stays?
As far as she's concerned, yes. That's her only change.
No, I didn't get mine all written out in verbatim. So, no.
Okay, so, Margaret, you can call the roll if you're ready. I think we're ready.
trustee Durblick,
Yes.
trustee Schoenfeld,
Yes.
trustee Makula,
Yes.
trustee Rosencki.
No.
Trustee Olson,
No.
trustee Keane.
No, and I request that this not be on the agenda anymore.
So it's 3-3 it fails.
So it has to be on the agenda until it passes, because legally we have to have
Because of
a
law.
decision on these minutes.
I
So-
think you could care less how long it's on the agenda.
Okay, next.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve the minutes of the September 21, 2022 regular board meeting? Can I have a move-in?
I'll move.
Thank you. Can I have a second?
A second.
Thank you. All right. Trustee Makula, any comments?
No questions, no comments on this. I'm fine with it.
Trustee Schoenfeld.
No comment.
Trustee Rosansky.
No comments.
Trustee Olson.
No comment.
Trustee Keane.
No comment.
Okay, Margaret, please call the roll.
We shifted so much, I lost my paper. Hold on one second.
Sorry, I
Okay,
know that-
that's okay.
that's really-
So this is for September 21st.
Yes, ma'am, it is.
Trustee Durblick,
Yes.
trustee Schoenfeld,
Yes.
trustee Makula,
Yes.
trustee
No.
Rosen- trustee Olson,
Yes.
trustee Keane,
Yes.
We're passing the 21st, yeah.
Good. As far as I'm concerned, no.
Okay.
It's fine. If you guys pass it, you pass it.
I'm sorry, what was the roll?
It was 5 and
so it's 5-1, it passes.
passes.
And that was September
21st.
21st, yes.
Thank you. Okay, the next item is 5C. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes of the September 26, 2022 special board meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Okay, trustee Makula, any comments?
No comments on this.
Trustee Schoenfeld?
No comment.
Trustee Rosansky?
No comment.
Okay, trustee Olson?
No.
Trustee Keane?
I just want to clarify, the only change was what's highlighted, right? Was
Right.
the number that Joe asked to be included?
And we went back and listened, and there was a lot of discussion about the number.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Margaret, would you please call the roll?
Yes, thank you. September 26th, trustee Durblick,
Yes.
trustee Schoenfeld,
Yes.
trustee Makula,
Yes.
trustee Rosansky,
Pass.
trustee Olson,
Yes.
trustee Keane,
Yes.
trustee Rosansky,
You're not going to her first?
You said
We
Pat.
did.
She voted
Dale-
yes.
She
Dale voted
voted?
yes.
I'm sorry,
Yes.
I didn't hear
No, that's
her
okay.
vote.
That's right.
Okay, yes,
Yes, thank you. 6 to
thank
0
you.
passes.
Darn it, I missed this. Okay, 5D, do I have a motion to approve the minutes of the October 19th, 2022 regular board meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Trustee Makula, any comments?
No comments.
Trustee Schoenfeld?
No comment.
Trustee Rosansky?
No comments.
Trustee Olson?
No.
Trustee Keene?
I just want to clarify, too, that the addendum is from the president's report, right? Okay. So this is exactly what should be happening with the April minutes, in my opinion, and no other questions.
Okay, I have one request, that my president's report for the October 19th, 2022 minutes be included under the category for the president's report, not as an addendum.
Well, then it will never pass, just like April.
That's fine.
Well, we
Another
already-
OMA violation
we
for us
already
to have on
passed.
the list.
We did pass a few minutes that it was as an addendum earlier.
Yes. I understand that.
Yeah. But, so what, the addendum came after the minutes were finished, but it could be added under the president's report
Yeah, it
to
could be.
see the addendum A, which is the comments in entirety or something like that. That statement could be added, which directs people to the addendum. So,
But I was told that when you create your minutes, the reports go under the categories on the minutes, not as an addendum. So that's why I'm just
I've
bringing that
never
to your
seen that.
attention.
Yeah, I've never seen that rule anywhere.
Pardon me?
I've not seen that rule.
Oh, you can check with Dennis. I called him just to confirm today.
How much did that cost?
Right, Margaret, please call the roll.
So we are voting on the minutes as they are currently.
No, she.
Yes.
Or did you want to
Well, I
add
made
your?
a correction.
She made a correction.
But
So you
that
wanna
won't-
ask- So which one are we voting at? I guess that's the
Because
question I
if
have.
it's potential for her correction.
Well, I think we should
my
vote
will
on the
change.
minutes the way they are,
Uh-huh.
and then when you change them, we'll vote on the minutes.
So bring it back next time?
Yes, I'd rather, because it
Oh,
gets
God,
too
what a waste
confusing.
of energy
Yes, it
and
is.
staff time.
Well, I'm so sorry, but it's the
Not
process.
sorry.
Vote on the minutes as they stand.
Okay. As they stand. Trustee Derblick?
As the minutes are, no.
Trustee Schoenfeld?
No.
Trustee Makula?
No, the president's report needs to
Thank
be
you,
in
Joe.
the minutes.
Trustee Rozansky?
No.
As they are, yes.
As they are.
As
currently.
they are, yes.
Trustee Olson?
Yes.
Trustee King?
Yes.
3-3 fails.
Doesn't surprise me.
Righty. The next item on the agenda, number 6.
I'd like to motion that we move item 11G up to the next item.
Second.
Item G.
So that Ms. Carey doesn't have to stay here past 9 o'clock when the library is closed.
Oh, I'm looking at the wrong agenda.
Sorry. Trustee King, you've moved, and who second? Diane? Thank you so much.
Of course.
Okay. Trustee Derblick?
No.
Trustee Schoenfeld?
No.
Trustee Makula?
No.
Give me a break.
Way
Trustee
to
Rozansky?
support and respect the staff. Thank you.
Trustee Rozansky?
Yes, I would like it moved.
Trustee Olson?
Yes.
And Trustee King?
Yes.
Okay, 3-3 fails.
Sorry.
All right, at this time, we do need to pay the bills of the library. Item number 6 is payment of the bills. Do I have a motion to approve operating expenses of $221,496.62, including a credit for a billing error in the amount of $157.50, along with payroll expenses of $218,139.05 for a total monthly expense of $439,635.67.
So moved.
Second.
Trustee
you.
Dribblick, can you repeat that for me? Because I know you made a change,
Yes,
and I want to make sure I caught
approve.
it. I'm sorry.
Approve the operating expenses of $221,496.62, including a credit for a billing error in the amount of $157.50. A payroll expenses of $218,139.05 for a total monthly expense of $439,635.67.
So moved again.
Second. Sorry.
Okay. All right, Trustee McCool, do you have any questions?
No.
Trustee Schoenfeld?
No.
Trustee Rosansky?
No comment at this time.
Trustee Olson?
Why is what you said different than what's on the
billing error?
paper?
There was an error in billing. We were billed 150, where is it? $157.50 in error.
So why couldn't we?
So there's a credit, because the check was issued, they're issuing a credit memo so we can approve the payment, but will be credited next month. Otherwise, we would have had to cancel the check and
Well, I'm just asking why couldn't you change the agenda so it could be correct?
Why, that's not,
Because sometimes it happens after the agenda's
Okay,
posted.
that's
That's
fine.
why it would be that.
It was found at the last minute.
thank you, Joe.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, Trustee Keene?
Yeah, I think I can explain that a little bit more. It's because the bill was approved by the president and signed by the secretary and the treasurer without noticing that there was an error in the bill. I found the
That's
error
not
in the
true.
bill. It is true. Did you not look at your signatures, there's an email that you sent to Cindy saying that you approved that bill, right?
Well, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have interrupted you. You finish and then I'll respond.
I just asked you a question.
I don't answer questions. Please respond, please finish, and I will respond to your comment.
The fact is, and there is proof, if I need to bring it, that the president of the board approved this bill via email to the director and said, yes, this bill needs to be paid, and then the secretary and the treasurer signed their names on it so that it could be paid. They did not notice that there was an error in the bill. I questioned the bill. I asked Dennis Walsh about the bill, and he had to investigate and find out that, in fact, there was a charge on our bill that was for a different client. And so he had to change the bill to the tune of $157.50.
All right, thank you. And the truth of the matter is, I did question that exact line item, and I was given a completely different explanation why it was a cost to us.
I'd like to
And
see
then
that.
after you contacted the attorney, that was brought to my attention. So kudos to you, but I did question it, and I wasn't given the information
If you
received.
questioned it, why didn't you bring that before us?
What are you talking about?
Do I need to repeat the same question? It's the same question.
When I review legal fees, I question line items. When I question the line items, I receive responses.
I'd like to see that response. Because I can't believe you got a different one than I did.
Well, this topic isn't really open for discussion.
But I emailed you about this topic and you didn't respond.
Well, probably because I couldn't access my email.
Baloney.
And if you talk to others, they're aware of it.
Baloney.
I'm sorry, it's impossible to work with you, but I'll be glad to explain this to you, not in a public forum.
That's the problem.
So
We
thank
try
you for
emailing
locating
and you
it.
don't respond.
And I've asked you to call me if I don't respond, because I can't
There's
get on
no
that site.
documentation
No.
by a phone call has no documentation.
We
All
want
right, this
documentation
discussion's over, thank you.
because we're tired
So
of
the
do we need
fact
to
is
take
that
a
they
vote?
approved the bill and they signed the bill and there was a mistake and they didn't catch it. That's the point.
Okay.
Well, that's your opinion. We didn't call a roll, did we? Okay, could
No,
you
we
please
did
call
not.
the roll? Thank you.
Trustee Dribblick?
Yes.
Trustee Schoenfeld?
Yes.
Trustee Makula?
Yes.
Trustee Rosansky?
Yes.
Trustee Olson?
Are we voting on the
Paying the
Payment of the
Payment of the
bills.
bills, yes.
Payment of the bills.
Yes.
Trustee Keene?
I vote yes.
6-0 passes. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that. The next item on...
I motion that we move up item 11G so that Ariane doesn't have to stay here after her scheduled work hours.
Otherwise, we pay her time and a half.
No, well, actually, she doesn't
No,
get
she's
paid
here on
extra.
her own
She's just
time.
stuck here.
And it's not fair.
We still pay her time and a half.
No, we don't. She's here on her own time.
Sorry, 10G, not 11G.
10G, yes.
Okay, now that we've paid the bills for the library, can someone second your motion?
Second.
All right.
Trustee Rosansky,
Margaret, please call a roll.
Trustee Dublik,
Yes.
Trustee Schoenfeld,
Yes.
Trustee Makula,
Yes.
Trustee Rosansky,
Yes.
Trustee Olson,
Yes.
Trustee Keene,
Yes.
6-0 passes.
All right, now that it's moved up, I have an objection to consideration for this item, to keep the motion from being considered.
Second.
This is not something that belongs on the agenda, or even belongs on a trustee's plate. I object to consideration, and I ask that this be taken from consideration, and the motion is, we just don't even discuss this here.
Margaret, please call a roll.
I called the roll.
Yeah, but I have an
This is-
objection,
she
so we
made-
have to
Oh, I'm
vote on the
sorry.
objection.
Okay.
Do you need
Give
her
me
to
1 sec.
repeat it
Yes,
for you,
please
Margaret?
give me
Sure.
one moment. Let's check at it.
Does Mr. LaFever still need to be here? I'm not that I don't want you here, Brian, but I
He's
don't know.
finishing the ordinance.
Okay.
It'll be just a
Okay,
few more minutes.
okay, that's fine.
My apologies,
But, you know,
trustee.
we're
Sure,
trying to
Margaret.
be considerate of his time also.
So the motion is objection to consideration. To keep the motion from being considered.
That's it.
That's it.
Got it. And second,
Patty, I think?
No, it was Diane.
Diane.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Let me get that down. Okay, ready for a vote. Trustee Dublik,
No.
Trustee Schoenfeld,
No.
Trustee Makula,
No.
Trustee Rosansky,
Yes, I think it should be, if anything, closed session, not in public. She wants to keep us with our mouths shut about things that should be in public. This, in my opinion, is related to something that should be closed session, if anything.
It shouldn't even be happening.
It shouldn't even be closed session. It's ridiculous.
So I have Trustee Rosansky, Trustee Olson. I'm sorry, Trustee Olson, I need a vote.
Yeah, the motion is to change it, so yes.
And Trustee Keene.
Yes, this is not something that is in a trustee's role. It's between the director and the staff.
Exactly.
3-3, fails. Sorry.
That doesn't surprise me. Because some of us on the board like to micromanage.
Okay, so let's get this over with so we can vote, whatever.
I can't say enough how vehemently opposed I am to this. This is demoralizing.
Thank you.
It's diminishing. It's just, it's all wrong on every level.
Okay, 10G on the agenda is for the review of the processes and procedures in the Youth and Teens Department by Supervisor Arian Carey.
And just note that the other youth staff is here in support of here, not because they feel like coming to our
With
meeting.
discussion of possible remedy. At this time, I would like to welcome Supervisor Arian Carey. There have been differing comments about the youth
Don't
and
let it be
teens-
lost on you that the other staff is here to support her.
Thank you. There have been differing comments about the Youth and Teens Departments for some time now. I have made inquiries about the comments that appeared on media sites and also made by individuals. I was informed the comments were perceptions. In an effort to obtain a factual view of the Youth and Teens Department, I believe the best source for an explanation about the youth and teens departments would be from the supervisor, Arian Carey. Our goal is to identify the problems and see what we can do to remedy them.
This should not be happening in
It
this
should
meeting.
not. And I could tell you, the problems are on that side of the board.
Trustee Rosansky, please,
It's the facts, Jack.
I'd like to have the supervisor talk to us about
Fine.
what she needs in her department, because apparently the public
need
is
more
making
staff.
comments.
I'd like to have the information that you
So
guys
what we
collected
need-
over the weekend when
Yeah.
you came in that I've asked
When you
you for
were
multiple
harassing her
times.
department, did you present us with any
You know
of
what,
that
there were
information?
comments that were made in public comments
Don't
for
change the
months.
topic. That's not what I asked for.
When I come to the library to understand these comments, what's actually happening, I'm hearing isn't, you know, is there a problem
She's trying to
with me
explain.
trying
Let her
to talk
explain.
to this supervisor?
Yes, there is totally a problem.
Why?
Because this is not what we do in a board meeting. This is what happens between the director and her staff. That's the problem. You think your job is to be the director and not a trustee.
No, I
course
don't
she
think
does.
that's my job, but since the public comes here and tells me that I'm not doing my job.
And you're not
because there
doing
are
it
so
properly.
many
This is not
problems
your
in the
job.
children's
You're not
department,
doing your job.
I need to find out what specifically they.
And you
They're
still
less
not
than half
answer
the staff they should have. That's the problem.
The question
And
that I
why is that
asked-
the hiring
I
freeze?
find it interesting when we finally take the time to try to have dialogue, that all I get is interruptions and screaming and
Go
yelling.
ahead, talk.
So we really don't want to have dialogue with this supervisor.
No, we don't. That's what they do, not
she-
us.
And
Should
if
be
the
talking
problem is this
director.
board, then
Yes,
we need to
that
have a
side.
conversation.
I did ask a question you haven't answered yet.
You're the ones who
I'm
come
not
in
here to
with
answer your questions. I'm here to speak to Arian Carey.
And you never
learn
answer them.
as much as I can
While we're
about
here,
her
When we're
department.
not here, you just don't answer them. So you aren't doing your job.
So Supervisor Arian Carey, I believe you just stated you just need staff.
So as her supervisor and as your employee, I would like you to direct your comments and questions to me.
Thank you.
I can't do that
Yes,
if I
you
want to have a
can.
conversation with
She
the
is the one who's
supervisor.
supposed to be between us and the supervisor. Or do you not follow the policies that are put down
So I'm going
for
to
board
ask
members?
you questions.
Yep.
When this supervisor's
See what a
From
circus
what
this
I'm
is?
hearing,
Because this is a
when I
circus.
bring things to you, what I'm hearing you're telling me are people's perceptions. Now, according to these trustees and the supervisor, that's not the case at all. So I'm not sure why I would
you
want to
worried
talk to
about
one more
what other
person
people
besides
think?
her.
Look at the
Thank
numbers.
you,
People come here
Brian.
in public, to
Well,
public comment.
this is the way to do it in a
Right.
public.
But when I bring the
space
public comments
with
to the
this.
library, I'm not getting the same answers. So I would like to have a conversation with the supervisor.
Then maybe
Do I
you
need
should
to
make an
schedule
appointment.
with you and the supervisor
And me.
not here?
And one of us.
No,
Just
thank
one
you.
moment.
No.
Well, then it doesn't happen.
When
No.
are you bringing the comments from the public to me? I guess I'm not aware of that.
Every time I meet with you and tell you what's going on in public comments. and
Didn't
that
you
I'm
say you're
concerned
not on
about this
social media?
department. Remember when I asked for information about her staffing to determine,
And I gave it to you.
Yes,
And I
you
gave it
did.
to
And
you.
then, and I told you, when I did this spreadsheet of her employees and the hours, I said they're overlapping. But according to
Okay,
the
no.
public, oh no, Cindy,
I have it, right? I have
I'm
it
not
right
going to
here.
argue with you, but if
No, we're
I
gonna
cannot
discuss.
if I
We're
cannot have a
discussing.
conversation with the supervisor
No, you
and really
cannot.
get factual information
do it
in this
with
board meeting, we won't do it here.
This is the factual information right here. I have it.
Okay, this is not the time to just pull out
This is the
sheets.
ti- Oh, yeah, here it is.
I want to have
You're
a
talking about the
conversation with her.
hours, you're talking about the hours that are needed to operate the youth services
No,
department.
I'm not talking about the hours.
Oh, you just said that you were talking
No.
about the
And
hours
You know what,
needed.
let's just put this to rest. I'm not here tonight
All right,
to
let's-
argue with
this is
her
over.
staff or
Well,
the
you're
other
not
members
here
of the
to put
library.
her in the spotlight. That
Okay.
is not your job.
I was not here to put her in the spotlight, but
What do you
that's
think this is?
That's the arrangement. Well,
She is in the
apparently-
spotlight. It's a fact.
Okay, if I could speak just once. If you go to village board meetings, you will notice all the
It's not
department
happening.
heads-
Get over it.
All the department heads attend those meetings. They discuss their issues, they talk about their departments. Trustees may bring questions, and the department heads come and have a civil conversation,
We
because
had that
we
last
are
year,
all
remember?
about the same thing, about solutions. That can't
you're not.
happen
Well, you
here.
don't.
No,
So,
because we do
this
not
is over.
have, we do
This is
not
not-
have
this
the
is-
structure
this
of
is-
the village.
this
That
is-
is
no.
not our structure.
Thank you.
Our
We
structure
are not
is-
like the village.
All right, this discussion is getting nowhere. Thank you
Exactly.
for making it a disgrace, but it's over.
It was a disgrace to be on the
As soon as you
agenda.
put it on
I
the
do want
agenda
to
and
speak
didn't
with the
show us
supervisor
any
at one time to
information.
get some factual information, so I
And
can
there would be
address
another trustee
these
there as well.
public comments.
That meeting
And
will not
Cindy,
take place
whatever
without another
venue works
trustee.
for you, let me know.
The public doesn't like
Cindy,
you.
I give
President,
you,
wait a minute.
that
I
should
give
not
you
be
that.
a
I think
meeting.
this was intentional. You didn't plan on solving this issue at all.
Cindy,
You know what? She's
And I
actually
think it's
supporting
upsetting.
her staff, Carolyn, and that's what she should be doing. And thank you for doing it.
Cindy, all
my
I would
job.
like to say is if you are having a meeting with someone from that side.
Yes, then one of us has to be
I wanna
there.
I am.
Don't do it without
I am
us.
retired. I can be there just about any day. You let me know, I will be there.
She's
Because
not.
I'm all for supporting our staff, unlike some of our board who are micromanagers, who refuse to lower the hiring freeze, and whatever else they do that has caused so many of our staff to leave since this board has been active.
But just to point out, the one thing that she did ask for was more staff,
Yes, which of course,
if you didn't hear it.
she
You
didn't.
know, I believe it's time to move forward, yelling at everybody and buzzwords and a one statement. without
Well, did you hear her
discussion
statement?
is really hard.
Okay, withdraw your motion then.
Thank you for coming,
Seriously.
Mary Ann.
My pleasure.
For the residents, if you want to know why we want a hiring freeze lifted, it's because her staff is at less than 0.5% of what it should be. Ta-da!
Her entire staff is here to support here tonight. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
I'm not sure what this was all about, but,
Well, we weren't either when you put it on the agenda, Precious.
If it isn't clear now, it never will be.
Well, can you dismiss this, this?
the discussion is over.
Okay, go to whatever you're going to go to next. Let's get the meeting going.
On the agenda is 10C.
I think we're back to 7A.
Are we? I don't,
Yes.
what happened to my,
We didn't do
agenda?
7A.
What happened to my agenda? I had it right here. Oh, there it is. Oh, yeah, the reports.
Get out your shorthand.
Good night, YS.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Make a fool of yourself.
I don't know what you can expect when you act the way you do with them.
No, you know what, Trustee Keene, the behavior in this library is not what you can expect.
I know,
That's what-
especially when you look at that side of the board, right here.
That's
It's
what
in direct
everybody
response to
says.
what you've brought.
Your behavior is unacceptable. Yes, it's exactly what
To
the
put
public has said.
Our staff on the hot seat is ridiculous. That is for the director to talk to, our staff, not us.
The next item on the agenda is 7 trustee reports. 7A is the president's report.
Please don't write down the whole thing.
No, they will.
We don't want to see.
Well, since we've moved the agenda items around, my statement regarding the levy has been fulfilled. I just want to now thank the trustees for agreeing to a levy that will fund library operations as we build a stronger and patron-centered Niles-Maine library location. While the Library Board of Trustees has differing views, we all share one common goal: to fund the Niles-Maine District Library, serve our residents and our staff. That was my statement,
That's
but
a
we
lie.
can move forward. Next on the agenda, trustee reports. Trustee Makula, do you have anything to share tonight?
No.
No.
Trustee Schoenfeld.
I'd like to thank Sasha for doing a fantastic job for the Halloween event. Also, I'd like to thank Mary Kay for the Adult Reach Services. I was very impressed with the 2 author visits this month that we had, and the Heritage Month. And then also, I would like to thank the department activities for the Sure Equipment donation for those 2 microphones and podcasts. That was very helpful and useful for the students. And I like the idea for the digital library incentive advertising programs and journals and the free bus advertisements, which I thought was a fabulous idea. And I like the bilingual Medicare information as well. And I'm looking forward to the beautiful event of the paintings that are coming to our library. And most importantly, I'd like to thank the Scott Bagnall, I think that is, who presented the tax seminar. He did a great job because my parents were there.
All right, thank you. Trustee Rosansky?
Yes, of course I do, because I actually come here. Not So Haunted Halloween event was bigger than last year. We had over 700 people show up. And seriously, if you were here like several of us were, you'd realize it didn't even seem as crowded as it was last year. Everything was smooth, thanks to the staff. For the Native American Heritage Month, the display in the youth department was very interesting. I really enjoyed observing and looking at some of the books involved. Interesting because it just is. It's cool. I honestly think more people need to look into that stuff. I truly enjoyed the, Nitwit's last meeting was in the morning, and the next one will be in the next Monday evening. I'm looking forward to it. We're getting more and more people coming to our meetings. It's great. Also, the craft swap is this Saturday. So please, if you would like to come and get some free craft supplies, a lot of our residents have donated some really wonderful items. Please come and visit. The genealogy, in a jar was a great way to help people connect with their families. Thank you very much for having that put aside for us. I believe that was the second floor.
Yeah. Well, no, it was 4th floor. Well,
what floor?
Stacy put it together. They gave it out on the 2nd floor.
Yeah, they gave it out on the 2nd floor. Thank you. I'm finished.
Trustee Olson?
I'm delighted to see that the library continues to show active community engagement, whether it be with programs like the outstanding plant swap that was very popular, or even the use of our spaces in the library by community organizations like the Chamber of Commerce and the Toastmasters Club. The second point I'd like to mention is if you read the library highlights, you'll see enormous amount of time and energy that has been put out by our library staff, organizing, weeding, updating our collection to make it more appealing for our patrons. I just want to make a reminder to fellow board members that the library is an ever-changing, fluid entity that needs professionals to take care of it. not us. We board members must listen to the suggestions of the library staff. We are not librarians. We must continue to build our library. We are elected to support it and move it forward, not bring it down, not criticize. It is our job to create a library that the community needs. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Keene?
I love when you give comments like that, Diane.
Thank you.
In regards to the plant swap, I was able to attend that, and it was so crowded in here, I could barely move. It was really cool, and I didn't understand what it was, so when I got here, it was something different. I thought it was a seed exchange, and it was a plant swap, and it was sponsored by an outside organization.
Yeah.
And so it made me feel really good to see that the library was able to be used by other organizations for
Yes,
something like that.
It was free to our residents. The library paid nothing. It was put on, we just used the room. It was put on by the Garden Club of Niles.
Nice.
I also wanted to say how much fun it was to be at the Not So Haunted House and to volunteer at it and to advocate for the library as a trustee by volunteering. And it was a shame that we didn't have any other trustees joining us. And just to say that I'm disappointed that the Battle of the Books couldn't be here again tonight because we are. That's the second month in a row that they had to be pushed out of the room. That's all.
All right, thank you. All right, next on the agenda, the Secretary's report. Trustee Makula?
October is the fourth month of the budget year. We received $122,308 in income. At the close of the month, we had $12,006,518 in cash and investments. We're still waiting for the second installment on the 21 property taxes. Salaries for October were $224,785, and employee fringe benefits were $51,177, for a total of $275,962. We had purchases of $51,410 in library materials in October. Total purchases since July 1st are $225,427. Operating expenses for September were $57,007. General and administrative expense was $27,325. Utility costs for October were $3,205. Building and equipment maintenance was $6,746. Total expenditures for October were $431,982. Total expenditures for the budget year are $1,719,359.
That's not right.
Okay, thank you.
I have some comments on the income statement.
Go right ahead.
All right, so there's been no discussion about these papers that were on our desk when we came in tonight.
So, would you like an explanation? The only difference is this was sent after Sikich reviewed it. Again, I guess yesterday Lisi got it as an updated, the year-to-date budget column. If you look at the first one you got, the annual budget and the year-to-date budget are exactly the same. And this one has the corrected number. The new one has the corrected numbers.
Right.
So it's the same thing, just corrected numbers?
The year-to-date budget is corrected.
Okay,
That's the
thank
only
you.
change.
If you look at the last page,
So I was told. Haven't had a chance to review
because
it.
when I was looking at the original one that we got,
Yes.
let me find it. So the original income statement that we got was started on page 29. And on the last page of it, page 33, and maybe I should wait for everyone to find it so that we can all be on the same page.
Are you talking the things we got on the, okay,
The income statement consolidated that we received on Friday night,
okay, yeah,
on page 33.
okay, okay.
I just want to make sure everyone is on the same page.
I don't have a page number on there, but,
Well,
okay,
it should be on the
Page
bottom.
33.
okay. Okay, I'll check over here. Okay. Here it is, hang on.
Especially the treasurer, I'd like to make sure that he's on the same page.
Do you want to just share it with me?
Are you, Joe, on page 33?
What's the purpose of this?
She has
I want to
questions
point
about the
something
page.
out.
Okay,
There is
please,
a
please
purpose.
make your statement, and everyone will hear you.
I'm
okay?
waiting to make sure he's on
No
page
need
33.
to drill anyone or question trustees. When you're ready, please speak.
I'll be ready when he's ready.
When everybody's ready, wouldn't
Well, I
that
guess
be the way?
She wants
you
to
know what?
discuss what's on page 30.
Well, please do. Must you make a big issue out of everything? People can hear you.
You're the one making the issue. I'm just waiting to make sure everyone's on the same page.
We are, if they aren't, so be it.
I'm sure everyone is. What's your comparison
not
or
sure.
concern? Please share it.
Joe, are you ready?
He's reading something else. right now.
Exactly, so I'm waiting till he's ready.
Why?
Because he expects us
Because
to
he's
sit
the
here and listen to
treasurer,
his
and this is the
numbers,
income
and he's the
statement.
treasurer.
There's a
Carolyn,
question with the income
report.
statement, and we're asking Joe? I don't know.
Well,
This
Why
is
are we
his
asking Joe?
report.
The income statement has nothing to do with Joseph McCullough.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Yes.
There's a trustee,
There's a difference between the first report, which is when I composed this, and the second one she gave us.
I know, and well, trustee King just wants to make sure you're listening to her. She would like to speak. She has
Okay.
a
Wants to
point to
ask
make.
you a question.
A
So-
statement about this.
So
Go ahead.
by all means, if you're ready, we're waiting.
Yeah, and actually on our first agenda, under treasurer's report, it's pages 27 through 34, so this is completely in the right spot, what I'm doing. Because these are pages 33, and that falls before 34, in case you didn't know. So on page 34, if you look at the year-to-date budget, and you go follow that column down to the total expenditures, it's $6,646,129, which is also the same number if you follow over the annual budget. So how can the year-to-date budget, which is only 4 months of the year, be the same number as the annual budget?
That would be an error.
Exactly. Why is there an error like this if we?
Because apparently when they prepared that, they did not, somebody made a mistake who prepared the budget. I don't know if it's Lisi.
Right, but this is in the treasurer's
It is nothing-
scope.
Well, he just said he worked on this stuff.
Cindy,
Yes.
Could you please address why there's an error in the library's consolidated income statement?
I could tell you why. It's because we don't have someone in the proper position to take care of this business.
No, Cindy, please, can you share with them the information that you mentioned to me earlier about the consolidated income statement?
Yes, I pointed it out, that is the error that the accountants found, okay? So the reports are run. It's usually on a very tight time frame. So the reports were run this month. It was worse because Blackbaud was down for a day and a half. Anyway, so we got the reports on the morning that the board packet had to be, like noon, when the board packet had to get out. So anyway, we sent them back to the accounting firm, and they looked at them and then redid it to fix it.
Right, so the accounting firm processed an error, and
No,
the treasurer.
they do not process the error.
All right, let me rephrase it. An error happened.
Errors happen, yes,
Right?
errors do happen.
And yes, they do.
Yes.
And then it went right through the treasurer's eyes, and here we are with a different number.
Trustee Keene, if I can just shed a little light, the errors in documents are noticed by everybody, but they're able to ascertain why the errors are there. And as you have seen, the error or the incorrect numbers were adjusted.
Why? Why were they adjusted? Because somebody noticed? No.
Yeah, because the people who create the report were aware of it, and they changed it. You know what, let me help you out here. It seems that your focus is on...
I don't need your help.
Well, I would like to voice this comment. You seem to always find a problem with trying to share positivity. You seem to value finding an error. I'd like to help you understand errors are made all the time, but it seems that you just want to point your finger to... No, because that's what she's doing. That is a horrible way for a trustee to respond in public. If you really wanted to discuss this, please discuss this in private, not in a public meeting.
No, I think the public needs to know the mistakes that are being made.
Ridiculing people when you don't need to is really unfair. And if we want to talk about errors, we can bring up a lot that have already happened in the past.
Go ahead.
Stop.
This is very immature on your part.
It's a fact that there was a check that was approved and signed by you guys tonight that shouldn't have been, and there was an error in this income statement which should have been caught by the treasurer,
Okay.
and that's what the
Trustee
public
Keene-
needs to know.
Trustee Keene, your opinion is your opinion, and
Exactly.
that's the extent of it.
Okay, well, it's not an opinion, it's a fact.
Yes, it is. No, it's not. All right, we are now
It didn't come out of
on
her mouth, so it's
item
not the
number... All right, we finished, we are now number 8,
Just
the
don't want to take
director's
responsibility.
report.
No.
Number 8.
It's not transparent, it's not accountable.
Those are wonderful buzzwords, but they're not
Yeah,
facts.
they were, and that's
Just
what
like
they
the
ran
one that
on
you
in their
used to always say
campaign.
about transparency
But there
before you were the
was
president.
No conversation.
And there's no transparency now that you are the president.
Director's report, number 8.
Cindy, did you have anything to add, or is it self-explanatory?
Well, I know we're trying to get out of here, but I did want to make just a couple of comments. And I believe one of the public speakers also mentioned that that there was just, and the trustees as well, there's been a lot of people in the library, and I think that's reflected in the October statistics. I know it's easy to sort of zero in on the material line items and the circulation of materials, but I think that if we look at some of the other line items, the patron visits, the number of services, the number of passports, the computer usage that was mentioned earlier, those things are all up. And so then you might ask, well, why aren't books up? And I think I mentioned it before, is that the circulation of books is very dependent on the number of people and the staff having conversations with people, engaging people, talking about books, handing them books. You come in for one, you leave with 2. You go to the children's department, you discover more books, you walk out with 10. So I think these incremental changes in the circulation numbers is beginning to be reflective of the shortcomings of not having enough staff.
Yes, I agree.
So I think that, we're getting this evidence here, and I wanted to point that out on the statistics. Also was mentioned about the programs. And again, if you look at the program report, the treasurer did ask for this column to be added about the cost of outside presenters. But what it does show you is that where the cost of programs is in adult services. If you look at the children's department, other than the Battle of the Books, where we give stipends to the schools, those programs are all created and delivered by staff. So that is why there is no cost there, because we do not hire outside people to put on children's programs, to put on teen programs.
Should.
And we do not, if you look at digital services as well, a lot of those programs are created by the staff and delivered by the staff. So I think that, it's evidence of what we've been talking about. If you look at the blue box at the top of the page, on page 38, you can see that in October, the Children's Department had 43 programs. So we have a staff of 5 people in that department, and they're still putting on 43 programs. So yes, it's not the same as last year, which is 60.
Shouldn't be happening like that.
So the story times and things are not happening that the gentleman asked for. But there's 43 programs from 5 people. And this is not just hiring a presenter. This is delivering the program as well. So I think that, the statistics have a lot of information in them. You just have to sort of dig in there and take a look at that. So I wanted to point those things out as well.
Cindy, can I just comment before you move forward?
Sure.
So on that explanation, with 43 programs in the youth department, then the comments from the public that we don't have any programs aren't really true.
Oh, yes.
I don't think they've said we don't have any. Yeah, they don't say we don't have any.
Programs are
We don't have
canceled.
as many.
No, they're making it sound like they're minimal or minute. And then I also want to mention, if our visits are down,
Visits, I said visits are up.
visitors from pre-COVID, when we looked at our numbers, and you mentioned last year we had 60 programs, this year we have 43. I mean, I think we're doing well for the number of people that are coming to the library. I mean, I'm trying to
So
understand the
visitors are,
discrepancy.
visitors are up 9%. That's what I was looking at. Year over year, 9%.
Compared to,
Year over year. So
Oh,
compared
last
to-
year. Okay.
Absolutely. Well, all of these numbers are compared to last year. You're comparing program numbers to last year as well.
And if you also listen to her, she said that is 5 staff. They were originally 12. They're down to 5, and they're still doing over 40 programs.
fabulous.
So that
Fabulous. It's ridiculous. We
Well,
don't
and
have
the-
enough staff.
the attendance year over year in youth service programs is only down 4.4%, but staff is down more than 50%.
Exactly.
So, I mean, and yes, that's fantastic. They're doing a fantastic job. They cannot continue to work at this level.
No, they won't.
And be able to sustain these numbers. So,
And before we move on that page, can I ask a question about
Sure.
Kids Space Fun? The spy scavenger hunt,
Kids Space Fun.
it's sort of in the middle. There were
page?
244 attendants in person. It's a self-directed activity, but it says that on 2 lines. The difference is, one is listed as one program, and the other one is listed as split. Is that something that happened more than once?
Cindy, is that, because I'm usually in the kids department, so I have a couple of ideas. Is that the things where they have them, they have the tank, that's one of the I Spies. But they also this month are doing something where they're giving the kids a sheet of paper and saying, find these things in the department. And they have photos and different things throughout the department. So is that why there's 2 columns for that?
So when it says split, that means they're only counting it as one program. So they're splitting the statistics, and I'm not exactly sure why they're splitting the statistics, but there's a couple of columns here that we hide to get it all on one sheet. So I'm not sure exactly, I'll have to go back and see what the column is that's hidden that tells you the difference between the 2. But anyway, so you might see also in a virtual program, it'll be a 0 there, under number of programs, 0. Because we
Right.
only count the program once, even though we're allowed to count the statistics for 12 months.
So I guess what I was questioning is, did 244 people attend this event more than one time?
Isn't it run all month?
Patty, if she could just
I'm
answer my question
I'm
before
sorry.
you ask yours.
What was your question?
I noticed that Kids Space Fun has 2 line items for
Right.
244 people in attendance.
Right.
I'm just trying to figure out if this occurred more than once and it had the exact number of attendance on both times. I don't understand.
No, but one of the columns that is hidden is the IPLR. For IPLR, you have to break it down into age groups. So you have to break it down into, you have to segment the ages of the children. So it might be split because they're splitting in half, like half of them, were the younger grades and half of them were the older grades. Because the IPLR report requires this year and last year that you have to have specific ages. So without actually seeing that column, but the column, I know there's a column there that's ages, and that's probably what's hidden. So they split it so they could put it into the proper age
And Cindy,
category.
isn't the I Spy the thing that runs all month?
Oh, yes, it's a
So therefore, it's not
self-directed
240 people at one sitting. They come
Throughout the
in,
month.
they hand them the sheet of paper.
Right.
The kids fill it out, they turn it in. So that's how they get the number.
Yes.
All right, thank you, Cindy.
So anyway, that's the statistics that I wanted to, I just wanted to mention a few things about that.
I'm thinking about it.
Let's see, the highlights are here, and also on the website for people to look at. Thanksgiving, the library will close at 5 p.m. on Wednesday. I just wanted to mention that. And also, then we will be closed on Thursday. However, the e-material and the streaming services will be available through the website and through the catalog. So, the library's still here for you to get some entertainment over the holidays. The holiday collections have been added up out on the second floor. And we have a new collections of binge boxes, which now that it's cold outside, are great because you get 4 DVDs for one package. So I just wanted to mention those as well. New for digital services this winter, they're going to be adding a winter reading program down there as well. It's called Winter Break Reading. It's going to be for December. The winter reading for the adults and children starts in January, but this one is going to start in December in digital services, so that'll be fun. And someone mentioned the adaptive hour in January. The adaptive hour will go monthly instead of quarterly, so we'll be able to do that through the Children's Department as well. This is the time of year when the teen school liaisons would be visiting schools to promote the winter reading. So that is a challenge this year.
I was going to say, we have none at this point. Didn't the last one just leave?
Could we do that virtually? Could we have something created and send it to the schools?
We have talked about that. Ariane and I have talked about that with Sasha.
If the staff had time to do that.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's it. You just need the staff.
The front driveway was repaired. You might have noticed that to get rid of that significant dip that was there before the winter freeze and thaw cycle started. The main boiler inspections have been completed. And someone mentioned the check in the board packet. That is to let you know that we did get an insurance reimbursement for the sewer backup cleanup. So that is what that check is for.
Very nice.
And the sewer repair was done on the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th of this month. So that has been fixed. However, there is a light capacitor transfer switch, which operates an enormous amount of lights in the building, all of the commons, half of kid space, that went out, and it's going to take a while to get a new one. So we had a day where it was half the lights were out for several hours while they worked around that. I think I mentioned last month that Judy McNulty had reconsidered her retirement, and so she did begin her leave of absence, and we are very grateful for the intense training and knowledge transfer that she facilitated with her coworkers and supervisors, and we certainly look forward to her return. Was a note from her supervisor that when a person with this much organizational knowledge, Judy has worked here for 30 years, leaves, remaining staff take on considerable amount of more weight. Service will suffer with fewer people left to work the desk and increased likelihood of burnout for those who do. Additional duties will be tacked onto staff already strained workloads with new learning curves, and so morale will continue to falter. Certain services such as job services, one-on-one, and resume, helping people with their resumes will disappear until Judy comes back. So it is really hard to capture institutional knowledge with so many people leaving so quickly. The teen librarian, Donna Block, has resigned. Carly Obrokta, Digital Services Librarian, will begin cross-training at the Youth and Teen Service Desk to cover some of the hours in the Teen Underground. She will also look to blend the two positions by providing additional digital services technology-specific programs for teens. We're very happy that Rosie Camargo, library assistant and Spanish language specialist, will continue part-time on Sundays and some Saturdays. We're delighted that she will continue to offer the Spanish language programs, including celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month, the continuation of the monthly Spanish language story time, and the quarterly adult Spanish book discussion. Rosie has represented the Niles-Maine District Library in her capacity as a board member at large on the Rails Board of Directors, a role she will continue affiliated with her new full-time employer. We are grateful for Rosie's past services and her willingness to continue to serve the Spanish language community she has fostered here. I have reached out to HR Source to use their recruiting services to assist in filling the Facility Services Supervisor position. And after that, if that works out, the Assistant Director position as well. So, thank you.
All right, thank you for that. If there aren't any questions, or are there, we can move on.
I have some comments.
Okay, Trustee Keene.
Just to let you know that going back to the program cost for the programs, we had 102 programs that month for a cost of $33,950. That actually comes out to be 7 cents per resident, 7 cents per resident for the programming that we put on last month. I thought that was an interesting piece of data to have on hand. I also am glad, Cindy, to hear you read that part that Mary Kay wrote in her report, because I was going to read it on her behalf. She had given me permission to read that, but you already did it. And so I want to make sure everyone knows that when Cindy was reading the part that said, we are already feeling the strain of such a valued full-time staff member leaving us, and when she said staff morale will continue to falter, that is coming directly from the supervisors. So please listen to that. And I would like to request that that kind of thing not be taken out of the highlights next time.
So there's two purposes for these documents, as I mentioned in my email. Library Highlights goes on the website. People aren't going to want to read.
I disagree. I think they would really want to read that.
No, well, first of all, not very many people read it. It doesn't have a lot of circulation.
True.
And, you know, the purpose of it is to bring people into the library. If we want to communicate about all of that news is getting out, about all of the stress the staff is under and all of that. That news is getting out. The news that's getting buried is the good things that's happening in this library, and that's what the highlights
I think
is
that
supposed to
everything
do.
you're putting in here is shining a light on the good things that the staff is doing. I think you're doing a wonderful job of that. But by taking this out, it's undermining what they're saying and not giving them a voice.
They are telling me, and I'm working on it. That's my job.
And then who gets to see it? Nobody? Because you take it out, so nobody gets to read it?
I read it, and I try to fix it.
When they write these reports, and I have this from them, I'm not just making this up, they are expecting everything they say to be brought to the board, and it's not happening.
That's not true.
Well, that's what they feel, so maybe there needs to be clarification there.
Yeah, and I asked them that, and I sent them an email that, and that is not the answer that I get back.
Excuse me, but why is the director on the hot seat? This is not a conversation for this board meeting. Let's move on.
You're totally out of line.
The next item, are you finished with your comments?
Who doesn't say anything except to
Are you
complain
finished
about
with
one
your
of us.
comments?
Yes,
Yes,
I'm
I am.
finished.
Okay.
Sorry.
The next item on the agenda?
Can I say a comment, please?
No.
In terms of the situation at the library, I think as a whole, if you want to say something or collaborate something, I think what we should do is maybe start having a radio station incorporating for young teens and adults and seniors alike to express their concerns, their thoughts, their ideas, and give them a voice. You're doing a fabulous job, and you have to give yourself a lot of kudos.
Well, we can use the blog to do that. I mean, I don't know how many people are listening to the blog, but I think with Carly now working with some of the teens, I think we can, because she works with the blog.
I get it.
So,
But what I'm
maybe we
saying
can
is
incorporate that into
You have
that.
all these central schools, Niles West, you have Notre Dame, you have all these schools. They could start collaborating and using their voices to be heard and start putting music, your events on the radio station, and older adults as well, to collaborate ideas and expressions.
I'm sorry, I don't know, do
Are
the high
you
schools
talking
have
the
radio
school
stations?
radio stations?
We have a wonderful facility down here. We
Oh.
should utilize all our facilities and express our ideas and concerns, and I think our voices will be heard.
Do you want to hire the staff to do that?
You don't need staff.
Okay, all right, and now that we're getting into this kind of conversation, it's
gonna go
over.
negative, so
Trustee Schoenfeld, if you'd like to speak with Director Rademacher further at another time, that would be great, but we're not going to involve all this back and forth. Next item on the agenda is,
I covered communications, so we can move on.
I actually have a comment about communications.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, Cindy, but
That's all right.
I'm still waiting for communication from you.
Which one is it?
My email of November 8th asking for the documentation about the grant from the Illinois Secretary of State.
Documentation of the
Yes.
grant? Well, the letter, I was in the board packet months ago.
The one that I wrote that we were awarded that never got filed. And I emailed you asking you for any and all documentation, emails, letters you've received about the grant from the first to the last on November 8th, and I have gotten nothing.
Oh, okay. So I don't have a letter, I have an email
Well, please forward it to me.
from Karen
There
Egan.
must be more than one.
No, there isn't.
okay, we are now moving forward. We're in 10. I believe we are at 10C. And I just want to add some information before we start with the first PTAB. I spoke with Attorney Donald Kenner. He is the attorney from KTJ who handles PTABs. And I called him to get specifics about the costs associated with the PTAB appeals. When I asked him for specific costs, Attorney Renner stated the costs that we would include an appraisal of the property, legal fees with a trial would range from $1,000 to $2,500. Legal fees with a trial could be up to $10,000. I also asked him if it was necessary for the library, since we're one of the taxing bodies of many, to intervene. He said it wasn't necessary, which means as far as these three PTABs, these three appeals, the school districts and other governmental entities will file their intervention, and they'll absorb the appraisals, and they'll absorb the attorney fees.
And then we get the benefit afterwards.
Exactly. So
It's
we
always
don't-
been that way.
So we don't need to pursue any expenses regarding the PTABs, but if there is a settlement, we will obtain our portion
Yes.
based on the tax rate.
Yes, and that's why in the past, we personally, as a taxing body, have never done anything like that. Let the larger taxing bodies do it, and then we reap the benefit.
Yes.
So can we withdraw these three?
Well, I think the purpose is to give the director a decision. So if
Yeah.
we need to vote on whether we want to intervene or not. Intervene means we're going to spend money.
So historically, in the library history, there has been PTAB appeals. Now, in the recent history, after
hasn't
2015, there hasn't, but this particular board has never weighed in. And when I asked the attorney what to do with these, he said, get an opinion, and then it's presented to the board. So
Yes,
that is why it is here.
That's fine. I'm saying 2015, yes. Since I personally have been on the board, we have never filed because you let the larger taxing bodies do it, let them absorb the cost, really.
Okay.
And we reap the benefits once they appeal.
And then that has been the practice.
Yes.
There is no written procedure. I could find no board action
And
where there
that's
was a
fine.
vote.
That's fine.
So I cannot arbitrarily make these decisions.
No, and I'm not
Okay.
saying
So-
that. I'm just saying, as far as I'm concerned,
agree.
let the other taxing bodies absorb the cost.
And
Okay, so-
the situation also might be, another taxing body is going to bring this, fight this appeal and start the process, and then we might start it at the same time and not know that they're doing it, and both parties may be paying the same legal fees for the same case.
Okay.
Although it might,
Okay.
once they appear in court. that-
Usually,
that
the
may-
larger taxing bodies do it,
Right,
Joe,
the school districts usually fight these things.
and even the village. So,
Okay, so since we all understand the PTAB process, could I start with the motion and maybe
Yes.
we can get
Yes.
through it? Do I have a motion for the discussion and possible decision to appeal the 2021 PTAB for BGE Limited in the amount of $17,000?
So moved.
Second.
can I ask if we could do all three of them at once and just get it over with?
You know, that's a good question. Can I just mention something else? Maybe I should have changed the motion and just motion to appeal. Or to decide to appeal, and, because we're not going to go through discussion, right?
We've already had our discussion.
We
Yes,
discussed
that's what I
it.
mean. So the motion should be just to vote it down.
Yes. if
So the
that's-
Well,
motion
if you're going to
should read-
vote to appeal, that is not voting it down, is
No,
it?
we should, no, no,
She's-
I'm
she
saying I should
worded it a little-
reword it.
Okay,
To not appeal.
to not appeal.
Well, they're appealing, I
Right.
understand. What we do is intervene.
Well, right, because the attorney's just writing a letter, right, saying we're intervening, but you're not. That's what I read.
We're not taking
From
any legal
historical.
actions,
Here, let me
basically,
get the-
correct?
That's what we're, yes.
So why don't you just say, we are voting to not take legal actions on, and group them all together,
Sounds
one vote, and
wonderful.
we're done.
But there are three different agenda items, so do I have to address them separately, Cindy?
Or can we group them together as three, do one vote and get it over with?
I don't know. As
I
far as I'm
think you
concerned,
could do all three.
You can do all three together, but
Yeah.
Just make
not a
one
parliamentarian.
statement. with all
One
three.
I'm
statement.
sorry, say that again?
I'm not a parliamentarian.
Okay,
but-
then, let's do them individually because it's the way the agenda is written. Okay, so the first one is, do I have a motion? Gosh, now I lost it. Do I have a motion not to,
Take legal action.
well, I was going to say, okay, that sounds better. Do I have a motion not to take legal action? But see, it says, the word it says in here is
doesn't make
intervention. Hold on.
Okay.
Let me get the sentence from here. Sorry, I turned the page. Okay, here it is. Okay, so, do I have a motion not to intervene in the appeal for the 2021 PTAB for BGE Limited in the amount of $17,000?
So moved.
Second.
Just add the word "and." Same thing, not to intervene for the next one, and.
Oh, I thought we were going to do them separately because they're separate agenda items.
I don't think it's necessary.
It isn't necessary?
I'm not a
I think it is, so
parliamentarian.
we're going to do it. So Margaret, please call the roll.
So Carol, I think I got it. It's motion not to intervene in the 2021 PTAB for et cetera. For 17,000, right? Okay, I got it. Trustee Derblick?
Not to intervene, yes.
Yeah, not to intervene, right. Trustee Derblick?
I meant yes is my answer,
Oh, yeah, sorry. It's been a long night. Trustee Schoenfeld?
Yes.
Trustee Makula?
Yes.
Trustee Rozansky?
Yes.
Trustee Olson?
Yes.
Trustee Keen?
Yes.
Okay. 6-0 passes.
The next one is 10D. Do I have a motion not to intervene on behalf of the appeal, on behalf of the 2021 PTAB for Niles Nursing and Rehab Center in the amount of $39,000?
So moved.
Second.
All
Okay,
set?
when you're ready.
Yep. Trustee Derblick?
Yes.
Trustee Schoenfeld?
Yes.
Trustee Makula?
Yes.
Trustee Rozansky?
Yes.
Trustee Olson?
Yes.
Trustee Keen?
Yes.
Okay, 6-0 passes.
All right, the next one is 10E. Do I have a motion? Wait a second. Oh, here it is. Do I have a motion not to intervene for the 2021 PTAB for Landmark of Displays Rehab Center in the amount of $111,000?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you.
Trustee Derblick?
Yes.
Trustee Schoenfeld?
Yes.
Trustee Makula?
Yes.
Trustee Rozansky?
Yes.
Trustee Olson?
Yes.
Trustee Keen?
Yes.
6-0 passes.
Okay. Thank you. 10F, do I have a motion to approve the CPI agreement for the administration of the FSA and HRA?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you.
Okay, hold it. I have a question here on this. This is different than what we were just discussing.
What were we, what?
We are now on approval of the CPI agreement.
Correct.
So this is the new company I had mentioned a couple months ago that is taking over for FlexSource. They administer our FSA and HRA benefits for the staff.
So basically, this agreement is because of the name change?
No, this agreement
Or
is
it's a
because
different company?
FlexSource is sold out to CPI.
Okay, thank you.
It has been reviewed by the attorneys on.
Okay. I just wanted it clarified.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, I guess I'll go around. Trustee McCool, do you have any questions regarding?
No questions. I believe we should approve this.
All right, Trustee Schoenfeld.
No questions.
Trustee Rozansky.
No questions, I just asked it. Thank you for your answer.
Trustee Olson.
No questions.
Trustee Keen.
No.
Okay, Margaret, will you please call the roll?
Trustee Derblick?
Yes.
Trustee Schoenfeld?
Yes.
Trustee Makula?
Yes.
Trustee Rozansky?
Yes.
Trustee Olson?
Yes.
Trustee Keen?
Yes.
6-0 passes.
Thank you. Okay, we are now on,
Can I make a comment, please?
go right ahead.
So Brian has prepared the ordinance. So I have a copy for each of you to look at. But this is the levy ordinance. Yeah, this is ordinance 2204 for the levy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, do we need to review this, or is he?
This is voted on, so then it will just go forward, correct? We don't need to do any more action on this?
Correct.
Thank you.
Just needs to be executed by signatures. He allocated the funds. You see the bottom line on page numbers, but anyway, it's a $5 million levy.
Yes.
So we can wait a few days to sign it if you want to look it over, if there's any issues you see with it. And then,
That's my question. Do we need to be concerned with issues? How did he arrive at these numbers? He just took the 5 million, broke it down.
Well, he already gave you earlier what the funds would be based on the fund balances and the policy. That was in the spreadsheet that he went over.
But I'm asking, how did he break the 5 million down to add to the funds?
It's percentages of the budget of the total.
Okay.
So he just plugged the 5 million in and then,
Yeah, and just worked with the percentage
Yeah.
of each item in the budget and allocated the money that way. And then the special funds, he showed you how he came up with those numbers based on the audited numbers from 2 years ago and the estimated, or what they gave the auditors this year. So, anyway, you have it, you can review it.
thank you.
Okay, so we are now on
Other.
11, yes, thank you. Okay. Okay, we are in other, this is the time for trustees to make suggestions about items not on the agenda. Please, what do I say? Please refrain from personal comments or personal insults. Thank you. I guess I'll go down the line. Trustee Makula, do you have anything for 11 other?
Not at this time. I've expressed myself during the meeting.
Trustee Schoenfeld?
No comment.
I think she said no comment. Okay, Trustee Rosansky?
No comment.
Trustee Olson?
No.
Trustee Keene, please.
I'd like to know if the audit is finished.
The audit is finished. The report will be due, the draft report will be here on the 28th of November.
So we can hope for that to be on the agenda next month?
They're presenting in January.
Okay.
Okay. I was surprised because don't they normally present before the end of the year?
Yes, but the approval of them was delayed several months, you might remember. Sort of threw the schedule back a bit.
I understand.
I just want to bring up what's going on in the community and the country at large with the book banning and the challenges that are coming up. In Lincolnwood and Downers Grove, there's been a lot of challenges and issues with that, and I did request that be on the agenda for tonight, but I guess it was deemed not important enough. In fact, I emailed an article. Were you ever able to open that, President Derblick?
I don't recall what article you're referring to, but I will admit, I didn't put that recommendation on the agenda because I don't see that being an issue here with our library. It's
Oh, my God.
unfortunate it's happening elsewhere, but I don't see that the benefit for us to, discuss what's happening in Lincolnwood. I didn't really.
Well, it's something that libraries do. They review the policies as necessary, and this is something we should be prepared for.
It's not a matter
Are
of,
we reviewing a policy? I thought she wanted me to act, because Lincolnwood's having this issue.
Well, it's one of our policies how to
it seems like you're
respond to it.
dancing around an issue.
You know what, Trustee Keene, when you do not have something factual to say,
Now,
you start
here
with the
you go
accusations.
again.
No, she's not referring to
you
you,
are-
she's referring to me. And I'm just so unable to have a decent conversation with you. Enough.
school board members.
The factual statement is, before the last election, one of the things another board member was running on was the idea of having residents in a committee to pick books. That's why we have professional librarians.
So here's what I actually asked. I said, I don't know if you've seen this article or not, but I'm including it just in case. I formally request that all trustees become familiar with our collection development policies as well as book challenge policies. I also request this topic to be on the agenda for the November meeting. And it went nowhere. So it's not a matter of whether or not it's going to come here, it's a matter of when it's going to come here. If you read the news or if you go onto the ALA website, you'll see that it's everywhere. It's not a matter of whether it will or not. It's going to happen, and we need to be prepared.
And that means
And not doing
looking
so
at
as a
the
dereliction of our duties.
Are you concerned that our policy isn't strong enough? Do you have issues with it?
Do all the trustees even know what the policy is, for one?
I don't.
I do.
I've been through the entire manual, don't know specifically what you're alluding to, but I
Okay,
think
well,
the
that's
director,
what we need
the
to do.
director is the person who would bring to us possible changes, and then we could discuss
No, we
it.
need to be ready.
Doesn't have to be changed, you have to,
We need to be ready
We
for
have
when
to
it comes. And the
discuss
way
it.
we get ready is to read the
What do
policies.
we need to, what do we need to prepare for? What's
When
coming?
we have book challenges.
And we don't have laws to protect that.
Well, maybe if you don't know the answer to the question.
No, I'm being rhetorical. There are
the library
laws.
sets a policy, the library
Yes.
itself.
The
And the
library
policies
trustees
can't
set
be,
that.
and the
That is-
policies.
that is actually our
And the
job.
policies cannot be against state laws. So what I'm asking you
Oh,
is,
no.
are you claiming the state is not protecting us?
Yes.
No, library.
I'm not so sure.
So what I'm asking is exactly what I said in the email. I would like for each trustee to make sure they know what the collection policies are and what the book challenge policies are, so that when we get one, we can defend it. We can defend our librarians and the books that we have in our collection. If you're not prepared to do that, it's not going to go well.
It's just an educational
Can I
step
ask
in
Cindy
learning
to
how to do
please,
this.
I'm sure the staff would appreciate the support.
Yeah, policy 3.06 is collection development.
Okay, can you please possibly email us those policies?
They're in
I
our
already have them.
policy
I don't
book.
need them.
They're in the
Well, okay,
policy handbook. I just looked
Just-
at them the other day.
Email us what the policies are that she's saying we should
The numbers of the policy,
numbers
if
of
you
the
want to
policy.
remind everybody
So that way
that
we
they
know
should
to
read
review
them.
Okay.
We should really look them over, discuss them.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Yeah, collection development policy is dated
And just in
2011.
case there's something that's dated on.
Oh, maybe that's not the right one.
So for next month, I would ask that on the agenda, and Margaret, let me know if you're ready. I would like to have on the agenda a review of the collection development policies and the challenge policies, a review and a discussion of that, so that we are prepared for when they come. I'd like to have an update on the union. And I'd like to lift the hiring freeze. And if we're not going to get the supervisor's reports in their entirety on the online version, I would at least like to see it in my email.
Thank you, that's a good idea.
Thank you.
Trustee Keene, can you repeat that? It was collections development? and
Review
which-
and discussion of collection development policies and book challenge policy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We done with other?
I believe so. So if there aren't any more questions, do I have a motion to adjourn the November 16th, 2022 Library Board meeting at 9:40 PM?
So-
Second.
Trustee Dribblich?
Yes.
Trustee Schoenfeld? Trustee Makula?
Yes.
Trustee Witzinski?
Yes.
And Trustee Olson?
Yes.
Trustee Keene?
Yes.
Before I forget, happy Thanksgiving to all of you and your families, and to our library staff who are all gone, though, but thank you all. Take care.
Thank you. Vote 6-0 passes. Thank you.